Hello and welcome back to the video. Today we're going to be playing Saints Row the Third, and this isn't really a review or a deep analysis, it's more like sit down and play the game with me again. This entire video is going to be about kicking back, replaying some of our favorite missions, some of our favorite characters, and seeing how the game overall feels, 15 years later. We'll experience the story together, talk about what still works, laugh at the ridiculous moments, and point out things that haven't aged so well, and I'd love to hear your opinions along the way. Saints Row the Third was developed by Volition and published by THQ and was released on November 15th of 2011. Every time I cover these videos, I feel older and older. It was released on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 as well as PC, and it was the fastest selling game in THQ's history at the time, selling millions of copies in the first few months and becoming one of the publisher's biggest successes. That being said though, critics were generally extremely positive, praising the over-the-top action, humor, expanded customization, and willingness to embrace the pure insanity rather than trying to compete directly with the Grand Theft Auto grittiness. While some reviewers felt that the story and side activities lacked the depth of Saints Row 2, the game still earned strong review scores and was considered one of the standout open-world games of 2011. Today, however, Saints Row the Third remains one of the most divisive games in the franchise. Many players absolutely love it for embracing the chaos, dialing up the comedy to 11 and introducing more memorable characters and making nearly every single mission feel like you were in a blockbuster action movie. Others, however, feel that it marked the point where the series moved away from the grounded gang war identity that made Saints Row 2 and 1 so memorable. Depending on who you ask and when you ask them, and when they were born, it's either the most fun game in the series or the beginning of the franchise's shift away from its roots and the beginning of its downfall. One of the biggest reasons that Saints Row the Third stood out in 2011 was its enormous graphical leap over Saints Row 2. Although the 3 years separates the games, Volition made significant improvements to its engine, the character models, lighting, facial animation, textures, effects, and overall presentation. Advances in development tools and the team's growing experience with the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 hardware allowed them to push much more detailed environments and smoother performance than they had managed in 2008. The result was a game that looked noticeably more modern and polished, even if it sacrificed some of the environmental detail and interactivity that the fans had appreciated about Stillwater. One of the biggest changes to Saints Row the Third wasn't just in the tone. It was also the move away from Stillwater to Steelport. After spending 2 full games building Stillwater into a city packed with distinct neighborhoods, memorable landmarks, and gang-controlled territory, Volition decided that it was time for a fresh start. The Saints had outgrown being a local street gang and had become celebrities, so a new city made sense for the larger-than-life direction the series was about to take. Back in 2011, the reaction was very mixed with this move. Plenty of players were excited to explore somewhere new. Steelport fit the game's over-the-top action, offered a larger sense of scale, and gave Volition a blank slate to tell a different kind of story without being tied down to the history of Stillwater. But there's another side to that very conversation. Many longtime fans felt that Steelport lacked the personality that made Stillwater so memorable. Stillwater had districts that felt visually and culturally different from one another. Steelport is often criticized for having too many industrial areas and businesses districts that blend all together. Players also noticed that there were fewer interiors to explore, less environmental variety, and fewer little details that made the world feel lived in, as well as there were none of the changes that we had watched happen between the first and second game with the original city. Looking back today, that opinion really hasn't changed that much. Even fans who love Saints Row the Third often admit that Steelport isn't as memorable as Stillwater. For many people, Steelport is perfectly good playground for the game's wild missions and sandbox chaos, but Stillwater is still remembered as the stronger open world. Whether you agree or not really comes down to what you value more, a city with more personality or one that's built to support nonstop over-the-top action, and we're going to explore that through this video. Another change that splits the community is the upgrading system, leaning towards a more traditional RPG leveling system. Completing missions, activities, and challenges rewarded respect with increased your level and unlocked new upgrades, weapons, and abilities that you could purchase with the money that you were earning. On top of that, the players could spend cash to permanently improve everything from their health to weapon accuracy to sprint speed, ammo capacity, explosive resistance, and eventually even ridiculous perks like unlimited sprint and immunity to fall damage, where these more quirky perks were earned before through completing activities. This progression system has remained one of the game's most debated features. Some players love that it gives a constant sense of progression and rewards nearly every single thing you do in Steelport. Others will argue that it removes some of the freedom that Saints Row 2 offered, forcing players to grind activities and challenges before becoming becoming as powerful as they would have liked. Even today, you'll find fans split about whether the new leveling up system introduced in Saints Row the Third and the mechanics that come with it made the gameplay more rewarding or simply added unnecessary progression to systems that the series really didn't truly need. And that is exactly what this replay is about. We're going to experience the story again the way that Volition intended, by leaving the cutscenes intact, unedited, and enjoying the ridiculous set pieces and appreciate the improvement, as well as talk about the changes and see whether Saints Row the Third still deserves his reputation over a decade later. We need to remember though along the way that this isn't about deciding whether Saints Row 2 or 1 is better than Saints Row the Third or which game is objectively better. Every game in this series has its fans and every player remembers them a little bit differently. My goal is simply to revisit these games with all of you, enjoy the ride, and have a conversation about what made these games special to each and every one of us. So all you need to do is grab a drink, get comfortable, and come hang out with me on the couch as we take over Steelport one mission at a time. Before we do that, we got to do a quick disclaimer. I have a speech impediment, so sometimes I say words a little bit wrong, or I will replace words with easier words for me to say just for your own sake of viewing. Don't let this distract away from the video, it's just a personal problem I have on my end. Just know if I say things a little bit weird, it's because I got a really fat tongue. The second disclaimer is that the music has been turned down, so some cutscenes might seem a little bit janky because there should be background music. YouTube has a really strict copyright system and I'm trying not to piss it off. So if you get to a section of the video where the audio sounds a little bit weird, that's most likely because I had to erase the background audio in order for the YouTube copyright system not to take this video down. Finally, third, these videos take a long time to edit, make, record, and script. So if you guys could hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment down below. That'd be greatly appreciated. I'd love to hear your thoughts throughout the series. Is Saints Row the Third your favorite game in the franchise? Do you prefer the more grounded style of Saints Row 2 or the over-top insanity introduced in Saints Row the Third? How do you feel about the leveling up system that was introduced in Saints Row the Third, and what are some of your favorite memories from Steelport? Let me know in the comments. I want these videos to feel like we're replaying them together, just like you did in 2011 with your friends sitting in the room with you, where maybe you liked something and I didn't, or vice versa. At the end of the day, you and your friends still had a lot of fun playing the game. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go take over the city.
Japanese commercials. Easiest money you'll ever make.
Grand larceny's right up there. You ready for this?
No worries. I do my own stunts.
Hey, you're just a ride-along, man. So don't get all Hong Kong style in there.
I am a method actor. If I'm gonna play a saint with any degree of emotional truth, I gotta make it real.
Trust me, Burke. It'll be real.
You're robbing a bank dressed like yourselves.
Hell yeah. Who doesn't want to be Johnny Gat? Ultra postmodernism. I love it.
I'm cool with the Saints movie, but do we really gotta drag this asshole actor around?
Cut Josh some slack. He's just researching his part.
Yeah, I hope he signed a waiver.
All right, people.
Nobody moves! Nobody dies!
Sorry, jumps his line. Can we go again?
You all know the drill.
Can I get a picture with the boss?
Say sleaze.
Get in line, bitch!
Hey, don't be a dick.
You call yourself gangbangers? You're a bunch of pussies. We should be all up in their shit like, fuck!
Oh, that's different. You got a plan, or we just shooting all these motherfuckers? That is my plan. Works for me.
Well, it didn't take long for that to fall right off the rail. Not in a bad way, just so we're clear. But you can already tell from the immediate intro cutscenes that this is going to be a drastically different version of Saints Row than the first two installments. And there's also been some changes that maybe you didn't notice right away. First being that Shandy looks massively different as well as sounds massively different. There's many reasons to this that you could get into, whether it's the fact that, I won't say it yet, or the fact that the actress in real life changed, or just the fact that this takes place 5 years after the events of Saints Row 2, maybe she grew up. It's pretty safe to say that Shandy's drastic change from the first game where she was introduced to this one is massively different, and most fans found it kind of jarring. But it didn't waste any time in establishing the tone of the game, so let's go into this a little bit happy. Right off the bat, we can tell that graphically this game looks absolutely incredible compared to Saints Row 2. Being honest, if you've watched my Saints Row 2 video, I played it with a mod called the Juice mod, so I had graphical enhancements, but really Saints Row 2 was extremely washed out. Also, I can tell you right off the bat that this will be the first time you notice that the gunplay feels a lot better and worse at the same time. We'll get into that more later. But overall, the game has set the tone, so all we have to do is fight our way through this bank. Along the way, our characters will hypothesize about what's going on here. This isn't just a normal bank, and that's pretty clear. So now they're trying to figure out what kind of bank is it.
I can't breathe.
No way we're cracking this thing. Ready for plan B? Yep. Josh, get over here.
Got the tools right here, Holmes. So, what's plan B? Huh? We drill it?
Fuck no. We blow it.
What? Not cool, man!
Time to get to work.
You may have noticed that we have a guy with us named Josh. He's an actor doing a ride along with the Saints to study up for his next starring role. This is done deliberately to show you that the Saints have gone far beyond street gang. They've ascended to full-on Katy Perry or Kim Kardashian level status of celebrity. But it's also done this to show you, and I believe this is Volition's intent, that the Saints have outgrown the city. They're already rich, they're already famous. They've got an actor that's starring in a movie with them just to simply rob a bank so he can learn the next role. What this is showing that the Saints are bored. It's time for them to move on. They're just blowing shit up to blow shit up now.
Let's get the chopper and lift this baby out of here.
Hey guys, you can call up the helicopter. Found the way to open the vault. Don't touch it!
Josh, are you trying to get us all jail time?
What? I don't want to be some dude's bitch.
Do I have to go after him?
Forget about it, he'll be fine.
How long until the chopper gets here?
I don't know. Probably like 2 waves of SWAT guys.
Ah, the self-aware humor. At the beginning of the game, this self-aware humor is 100% absolutely charismatic. It's kind of fun. Throughout the game, though, it's going to start to wear on you. That self-awareness starts to become too much. You start to realize that the game is too aware of the problems, and anytime you run into a glitch or a bug or an issue or a common complaint, the game will have a joke somewhere along the lines to dismiss it. This was a pretty common sentiment now in modern times, as well as back in 2011 when the game came out. The humor was funny, but it comes grating when everything has to have a punchline. We're going to see the reverse of this in the Saints Row reboot, where everything that's funny or fun immediately has to have a quick check moment, is what I'm going to call them. Like, we're going to go get a mecha burger, but then all of a sudden we listen to a 5-minute story about how the character beside us is a bisexual orphan. That's actually a thing. But that self-aware humor is going to carry on throughout this entire game. I'm not going to show you every instance of it. You're more than welcome to play the game to see for yourself, but I will include some of the more egregious offenders. Now, all we have to do is sit here and fight off waves and waves and waves of SWAT guys. In the beginning of the game, your accuracy, your guns and everything handle just like they did in the first game, and it feels really, really good. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the upgrade system, but later on, once the game officially starts, we basically become mentally challenged when it comes to shooting our guns. It's kind of interesting they chose to go this route where they allow you to feel the full power and potential of your character only to strip it away needlessly in a few minutes. Near the end of the fight, a helicopter is going to arrive that we're going to also have to fight. It's an attack chopper. We're not going to have to fight it inside because Pierce is going to arrive with his chopper.
Go, go!
Okay, let's talk about something that we need to right off the bat. This game is going to push your absolute limitations of suspension of disbelief. If you don't know what suspension of disbelief is, let me explain it to you. The definition of suspension of disbelief, or suspended disbelief, is as follows. To suspend disbelief means to choose to accept a fiction or unreal premise as true for the sake of enjoying a story, movie, or play. It allows an audience to engage with elements like magic, spaceships, or talking animals without constantly picking apart how impossible they are in real life. Saints Row the Third is going to challenge your limitations of what you are willing to accept as feasible within the Saints Row universe. The first games maybe push the boundaries a little bit with activities like insurance fraud or trailblazing. The difference was it felt grounded in the universe of those games. Saints Row the Third is going to take those moments and they're going to turn them up to 10,000. At every twist and turn, you, the player, the viewer, or you watching the video are going to be challenged on what you are willing to accept as believable within the universe. So they're challenging you right off the bat with us riding this safe. Saints Row's always been known for kind of making fun of pop culture moments within the time in which the games were made. That was the case at least until the reboot, where instead it became a preachy story to remind you how sad you need to be. Saints Row the Third very much is going to mimic the kind of movies that were coming out at the time. For instance, this is the same year that the Fast and the Furious family decided to drag a safe through the city. Now we're flying on a safe in the city. There's nothing wrong with it, I just wanted to note it and make sure that you understood that at the time, movies were also doing the same stuff. So what are we doing on the safe? All we have to do is stand here, shoot the other bad guys, because believe it or not, the 3rd Street Saints are still a gang, which means that they are on the wrong side of the law, which means that we are in fact just the other bad guys. There is an absolute insane amount of bad guys that are going to shoot at you, and to be honest with you, you might die a few times during this mission, and you wouldn't be at fault for that. It's a lot to learn right off the bat. Eventually, we're going to have to shoot down the attack chopper that is also fighting us, further pushing that suspension of disbelief. Doing so will trigger the inevitable downfall of the 3rd Street Saints, and it turns out this has all been part of a bigger plan by something called the Syndicate, the overarching bad guys of the full story of Saints Row the Third. They are the gang with subdivisions below them. We're going to learn about it right now.
Well, shit.
Okay, so we have been arrested and we'll figure out why the city that once loved us turned on us here in a minute. First, let's talk about character customization. This is actually the first talking point that many people talk about when it comes to Saints Row the Third. In the interest of just being transparent with you guys, I personally have zero problems with the customization that is available to you in Saints Row the Third. But many say that it's less exciting than the first 2 installments, and to be honest with you, I think it comes down to the graphical leap from 2 to 3. Because admittedly, it's even extremely hard for me to get past the fact that my character for some reason always looks like sexy Squidward no matter what I put on there. But in the interest of keeping true to our entire playthrough with the boss, I'm going to make it closely resemble the character we've been playing through this entire time. Just for cohesion, you know? But I will admit that it's hard to get past the fact that we look like sexy Squidward no matter what face we pick. I personally believe that there's more than enough customization here for someone to be happy, but others didn't. Then they felt like the customization wasn't fully there. I will also be one of the first people that will tell you that people sometimes complain just to complain. And when it comes to Saints Row the Third, in my personal opinion, that's all people were doing when they talked about character customization. So with our character made, let's figure out who's pulling the strings behind the scene.
fuck is this? We paid up this month.
Someone paid more.
What happened?
We got arrested.
No, to us. Burke's right. We traded our dicks in for pussies. Seriously. Movie deals, commercials. Saint's name used to mean something more than body spray and some ass-tasting energy drink.
Our brand's worth a shitload of money.
Is that what it's all about?
It's always about the money, Mr. Gat. Which is precisely why our employer wishes to speak with you.
If you'll indulge us.
You have any idea who you fucking with here?
Of course. A remarkable likeness. These visions are Viola and Kiki, and I am Philippe Laurent, chairman of a multinational organization called the Syndicate.
Never heard of it.
Evidently not, or you would not have robbed our bank. Perhaps you wonder why you are still breathing at this point.
Actually, I wonder why my foot's not up your ass at this point.
Like it or not, Mr. Gat, our organization is expanding into Stillwater. I am offering you the chance to leverage your assets against your lives. Ladies?
You may continue to operate the Saints Ultor Media Group as you see fit, in exchange for 66% of your monthly gross revenue.
That is before taxes, of course.
Listen, you French fuck.
Please. I am Belgian.
So make yourself a fucking waffle. We done here.
And I had so hoped to come to a rational business arrangement.
What the hell's going on?
Boss, you gotta bail!
No, not without you.
What, there's like half a dozen guys? I can take them.
What about the plane?
I'll fly it back to Stillwater.
Johnny, you can't even drive stick. How you gonna fly a plane?
Details, details. Just cover the boss. Go, I got this.
Okay, so we have to talk about a few things. One, we have something called the Syndicate. Let's just call them the overarching cabal. It's a term that refers to the entirety of the gangs that are inside of the city. Underneath, under that banner, you have the Morningstar, the Luchadors, and the Deckers. And they break down as follows. The Morningstar are basically upper management. They are the guys, the CEOs, the brass. The Luchadors are the enforcers and the physical muscle. They're literally wrestlers. And the Deckers are the tech people and the cyber division. They're the dudes that are hacking everything and stealing the money digitally. And for some reason, they decided that the 3rd Street Saints were a threat in a totally different city and then decided to break them out of jail and bring them back to their own individual city, even though the boss, our character, has proven now twice that he is more than willing to take out any gang that is in his way to have everything he ever wants. Just seems like a weird move for this weird military-esque CEO corpo division to do. Just seems like their board should have been like, hey, maybe bringing the #1 bad guy from that city to our city isn't the best solution. Now let's talk about Johnny Gat. Of course, he's goddamn well badass, but for some reason, the developers of Volition decided to immediately have him sacrifice himself to save our character. When you first play it, it comes across as Johnny being Johnny, and you can't help but see the fact that Johnny is always going to be loyal to the boss, even if it means that his life may end. So all we have to do is fight our way through the plane and hope that Johnny can handle his own inside of the cockpit. Fighting through the plane isn't hard, but because our character is still a reasonable level, but the constant camera shaking can give you a little bit of motion sick if you aren't used to that kind of stuff. But that's the least of our problems, as Johnny may not be able to handle it after all.
Johnny, we're about to jump!
Right on. I'll see you in Stillwater.
Johnny?
Ah, yes, that perfectly survivable moment when you get hit in the face with a entire car. We've all been there. We've all been there. This is where the game's really going to push your suspension of disbelief. I know it's cool in action movies to see the hero jump out of the back of the plane without a parachute and then grab a parachute on his way down, but is it realistic? No. And to be honest with you, it's okay within the universe of Saints Row. But there's this old saying that goes that too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. And Saints Row is going to hit you a whole bunch with a whole bunch of good things that eventually starts to be like, oh, I'm starting to get a little burnt out. The best way I can describe the entirety of Saints Row 3, it's just like a toddler that has been given a whole bunch of sugar and then also has severe ADHD. You literally never know what's going to happen and you never know the direction it's going to take, but you do know that you're going to be exhausted by the time you're done. All we have to do here is fall from the sky and avoid the debris while trying to catch up to Shondi while simultaneously fighting the other people from the syndicate who have jumped out of the plane. I've always had a problem with the fact that we just cleared the entire cargo haul, yet for some reason there's about 752,600 syndicate and they're all coming right after you. Simultaneously, we saw the amount of cargo the plane had from cockpit to back rear cargo door and it was not this amount. It's not hard, it's more just like you start to ask yourself why. And when we finally catch Shondi, we realize that Volition just said screw it, go full bore.
I'm not gonna lie. For a minute, I didn't think you'd make it in time.
Girl, you gotta have a little bit more faith in. Wait, what's that thing?
What is what?
Okay, it's nothing to freak out over, but that plane looks like it's gonna try to ram us.
What do you mean, don't freak out? Do you have a plan?
If I shoot out the window, I can land inside it, cap Philippe, then jump out the back.
You mean we, right?
I'll be back in a minute.
Wait, what?
Shoot out the window? The fuck was I thinking?
As I said, Volition just said, screw it, go full bore. Few things immediately. Let's nitpick. Let's have a little bit of nitpicking fun for a minute. The plane dropped out all of its cargo clearly above us. That plane then had simultaneously enough time to turn around, fly all the way back, and then start to ram us, but is simultaneously going to drive through the debris in which is falling from the sky, meaning it's putting its wings and entire fuselage at the whimsy of gravity, and just hoping that the multiple thousands of cargo containers and multiple thousands of cars that we have been ducking for the first part of this mission don't hit it. It's a little bit odd for a pilot to do. Second, after flying through that, what did we actually accomplish? We threw a backpack at a guy. That's it. We threw a backpack at a guy. We already had Shondi. We could have landed on the ground safe. We already knew Johnny Gat got killed in the cockpit. But even at that speed, what did we honestly think was going to happen? It's not like we could have grabbed Johnny. It's not like we could have saved the plane. We were going to fly through it no matter what. Technically, we should be dead because a plane window's 1.5 inches thick. But nothing about that made any sense whatsoever. Not in a bad way. It's just fun to nitpick things once in a while. I got to be honest with you. At the time, you were like, holy shit, this is absolutely insane. You were immersed. I won't lie. Eventually, we will catch up to Shondi again, and we're going to grab her, and she's of course going to be mad at us for dropping her, which I think is within her right. And that's the mission.
Gentlemen, negotiations were less than successful. Viola and Kiki will spread the word. Steelport belongs to the Syndicate, and the Saints are not welcome. Mr. Kilbane, gather your luchadores and bring me their leader's head. Mr. Miller, hack into the Saints' accounts and leave them nothing.
The body of Mr. Gat will be a message for all who oppose the Syndicate. There is no mercy, only death. Don't mourn your friend. You'll be joining him soon.
Loren's gonna pay for this.
So the game is telling you that Johnny Gat died. And I gotta be honest with you, back when this all happened, every single person that ever played this game was sad that Johnny was gone, but also was hopeful that Johnny was just not with us at the moment. What I mean is that we didn't see him die. And there's a rule when you watch TV shows or movies that if it doesn't happen on screen, then it's not actually happened at all. It hasn't been canonized. This is what a lot of movies and TV shows do by having a character just randomly disappear. If they come back, they can give any number of reasons on why he did come back. But just in the interest of spoilers, Johnny does not come back for the rest of this game, so that should tell you how much different Saints Row 3 is going to be. In fact, it basically becomes Shondi who becomes the new Gat, which doesn't really work, and you'll understand why as we play through the game. So here's how this mission's going to break down because we don't need to waste time. The Saints have been stripped. They have no money, they have no districts, they have nothing. They don't even have guns anymore. And apparently the Syndicate also went into our brain fibers, into our noodle basket, and removed our ability to be just good at anything. We can no longer shoot or run as fast or as far, and everything that we were good at when we started this game has now been removed. I always find this funny when video games do this. Like when in Assassin's Creed, you're not allowed to grab a ledge unless you complete a certain amount of missions, and then all of a sudden your character goes, oh yeah, I have an opposable thumb. In Saints Row, we went from being able to be a gangbanger to basically being unable to do anything. So let's just whip through it. We're going to drive to friendly fire. We're going to get ourselves a new gun. The first thing we're going to note is you can now upgrade your guns individually rather than just buying ammo. You can upgrade things like clip size, damage, and so on and so forth. If I'm being 1000% honest with you, you're not really going to be able to do much unless you also increase your accuracy inside of your upgrade menu, which is your own personal level up system. If you don't, your guns are going to fire terribly slow, they're going to be terribly inaccurate, and it's just going to feel bad. I'm going to be honest with you, the first hour or two of Saints Row 3 just feels terrible. Like guns, you'll click the button and then it doesn't shoot because you haven't unlocked the ability to shoot that fast yet. And it just feels not very fun at all. After friendly fire, Shondi's going to realize that she actually knows that there's some other better weapons out there if we just simply go to the armory. So that's exactly what we do. We drive to the armory and immediately take the fight to the literal freaking military, and all we have is a goddamn pistol. That was the plan. Fall from a plane, buy a pistol, and then go fight the entire military. I don't know. Eventually, we'll be told that we have to defend the area until we can get a hold of Pierce, who, for some reason, is on his way. I don't know if you noticed, but Pierce wasn't tied up with us on the plane, and Pierce definitely wasn't with us when we got arrested, so how did Pierce know we were coming here? We don't need to think about it too much. You know why? Because after we fight the arbitrary amount of military, Pierce will arrive.
I love to make an entrance.
I just want to be clear, when we finished Saints Row 2, we had access to literal fighter jets, and we had access to literal fighter planes and helicopters. And when Pierce decided to come over to Steelport and help out the boss, he brought the news choppers. You can't make this up. I told you, they're just going full, just don't even care what you see on here as long as things are exploding. If you think about it too hard, you realize that these are the worst gangbangers ever. It is pretty cool, though, to see the fact that we have some actual gang members, because at the end of Saints Row 2, you started to feel less like a gang and more just like, a Call of Duty supervillain, just able to do whatever you wanted. So we have to defend the location until Pierce can land, and the only way we can defend this location, obviously, is by using a Predator missile. I can actually attest. So I served in the Canadian Armed Forces from 2011 to 2018, and I will attest, we often just leave briefcases of activated, ready to fire Predator missiles just around, just willy-nilly, wherever the hell you want. I gotta be honest with you, I had to sometimes move a Predator missile case launcher so I could just sit down. Like, that's how common they are. What is super funny about these Predator missiles, it seems so cool at the beginning. It's able to take out a tank in one hit. It's able to do all this extra stuff. You will literally forget this even exists the rest of the game if you... Well, at least that's the case for me. It's just simply not as effective as it is in this mission moving forward. You can upgrade it just like anything else, but it never really feels that good. It'll never be this good. In fact, throughout our time playing this, this. There's something called gang operations. We'll get into that in the activity section. I would often call in the Predator missiles to take out the gang operation, and it would almost do less damage than if I had just farted their direction. It's not a hard segment, it's just already we've had to defend a location like 3 times, and we just started this game. If that shows you how the actual story arc is going to work, then you start to get a little bit nervous when you look at it from that gameplay mechanic side. Eventually, though, we will defend the location, and we will be able to hop onto the news chopper to escape.
Damn it! These guys are a pain in my ass!
We can't let them blow up the bomb. Or here, send me back.
I'm handling that shit.
Easier if these things were moving so fast.
A running joke throughout Saints Row 2 was that Shondi's a bit of a whore. Her legs open and she gets all the information she wants. Well, it turns out that she's still a bit of a whore inside of even a whole different city, as we're literally going to fly to her ex's house right now. While we fly there, we're going to have to fight the choppers. I do have to say, compared to Saints Row 2, the camera angle is a lot better when it comes to Saints Row 3 for interior of vehicle fighting, which for me personally, if you watched my first 2 Saints Row reviews, is a massive thing that I complained about because it was just annoying not being able to actually fully shoot the helicopters around you. We won't have this issue inside of Saints Row 3, but we do have the issue of every gun we use sucks. Every single one. And it's because we don't have a level up. I don't understand why strip the player of the simplest things and make it just artificially harder for them to do anything, when so far the game's been completely on rails. I actually haven't had much control over any of the events that have happened so far, but the one thing I could control was me shooting, except for they decided to make that actually terrible to do. It never made sense for me back in 2011 and doesn't make sense for me now in 2026. It's just a weird choice from Volition. This section isn't hard, just shoot the choppers till they're, no longer chopper, and then arrive at Shondi's ex's house. That's it.
So what's next?
What's next is you go back to Stillwater.
What? No, this is my fight too.
Girl, you don't get messy. Let us take care of business.
Fuck you. I'm doing this for Johnny.
All right, if we're gonna bring in the boys, we're gonna need a new place.
You're worried about real estate? We have guns. Let's use them.
Relax, Shondi. We got it all covered. How's the crew settling in?
Man, we gotta get a new place. That studio shit ain't working at all.
You spent too much time in posh hotels?
I can't help it that the rest of the world treats the Saints right.
Doesn't mean we should get soft.
I hear you. Listen, how about you and me roll around the city and see what Steelport has to offer?
You convinced me. Meet me at the park. I'll pick you up.
As you can tell, Shondi's taken over the role of Gat. Now, even back in 2011, a lot of people saw this as some sort of forced female role thing. I don't really give a crap either way. If your opinion is that, then that can't change your mind. I personally think that the character growth needed to happen for Shondi because she was the only one that was this over-the-top pot-smoking degenerate. Everybody else had an ambition and she had none. And let's be honest, if you've experienced a loss, then sometimes that can change the way that you see things. So I was never at all having a problem with the fact that Shondi became this badass, as I personally prefer this version of Shondi more than what the Saints Row 4 will call Fun Shondi. Now, the Saints are going to need a headquarter, and the game is immediately going to give us an entire goddamn skyscraper. Personally, for me, I would have liked to have worked up from a small shack and then grown our own skyscraper, but for some reason, Volition decided, nope, give them the penthouse suite 4 seconds into the game. I've actually thought about that all along the way. Saints Row 2 did an alright job of giving us the slowly upgrading, safe house under the city. Saints Row 3 just gave us immediately a penthouse, and then once I had it, I felt like I never needed to go back there or earn anything throughout the rest of the game. I think a great way to have shown progression in our gang would have been having us buy a plot of land or blow up a building and slowly build our own skyscraper to compete with everybody else's. But it wasn't the case, and we can't change it now, but it's worth noting. We're still technically in Act 1, which is still technically the tutorial, so we're going to be sent over to rim jobs to upgrade our car, and then we're of course going to have to go buy a new outfit, which is exactly how we ended up looking like this. I'm trying to keep the same character kind of look throughout the entire series, that way we just kind of have a little bit of cohesion between the individual game. Leaving the clothing store, we're going to get another sign that this game isn't like the rest, as there's something called a brute outside. These are giant men who just have an unfathomable amount of strength and require a lot of work to take down, as well as a quick animation. Some Some people had a big problem when it came to the brutes. I really didn't, and it was only because we kind of needed a different kind of variety of enemy when it came to Saints Row. Now, I will admit, sometimes the game can throw a lot of brutes at you and it can kind of get a little bit boring. We actually got very lucky in this playthrough that we didn't run into the brutes too much, nor the deckers, fast or super quick rollerblader people. So it was every time we ran into one, it was kind of a nice little treat and a little bit of a break from the monotony of just gunning down, you know, mindless gang members. But I have done playthroughs of Saints Row 3 where sometimes every single fight you get into, there's another brute, and it just gets a little bit repetitive. Admittedly, the first time you see a brute, it's going to be the hardest time you're going to have with a brute because you're trying to learn the mechanics of taking them out, and the game has artificially absolutely dumbed you down to a minuscule level. What I mean by that is you don't shoot as much damage, you don't do as much accuracy, you don't have as much health or stamina. Everything has just deflated you to basically another civilian. So if I'm being real, this is the hardest the brutes will ever be, and from this point on, it will get easier and easier to take out. Once we defeat the Morningstar ambush, all we simply have to do is race home to complete the mission. That's literally it. It's easy to say that. We're still in the tutorial. It's of course that's literally it.
Glad you called. Think I found us a new place.
Pierce, we're supposed to be looking for Loren, not house hunting.
See, that's the beauty of this place. It's owned by the Morningstar.
All right, I'm listening.
The Morningstar have a penthouse downtown where they're throwing some big party for their global contacts.
And their real estate agent's gonna be there?
Real funny. I was gonna say we crash the party, kill the Morningstar, and keep the place for the Saints. Ha!
I'm game. What's the plan?
The Saints will be downstairs until you can unlock the elevator for them to come up.
Wait, if I can't go up, then how will I, Oh, right, the penthouse.
That's right. Meet me at the airport.
All right, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. This game does a lot of making you drive from one end of the map 3,000 meters away to the other end of the map, which is 3,000 meters away. This is done intentionally to pad out the time. It's meant to make the game longer than it necessarily needs to be. Is there faster ways to travel around the city? Yes. Are they always readily accessible to you? No. If you choose to start a mission after doing an activity, the odds are you're going to be driving at least 5-6 minutes across the entire city. I only bring this up because there's one issue when it comes to the driving. Listen to this and let me know if you can figure it out. If you heard the engine looping, you would be 100% right. Now, admittedly, this isn't the best engine loop to do it with, but later cars are definitely pretty bad. The loop's set at like a 5-second interval, so when you're driving across the bridge that literally takes like a minute and a half to get across, and the engine's just going over and over again, you can't help but get annoyed. Now, obviously, normally there's music playing, but in my playthrough, I don't have any music because, well, YouTube sucks and will copyright the video, but without the music on, you often notice things that maybe you didn't notice before, which is the whole point in replaying this game in the first place. The engine loops are annoying. I'd rather a constant droning hum than the engine re-looping, even though I haven't increased or decreased in speed. Okay, we're arriving at the airport, we're gonna meet with Pierce, and we're gonna go get ourselves a penthouse by flying up to the penthouse that has literally got the entire Morningstar enemy gang there, and just landing on the roof. Obviously, that's how you do it. Nobody's gonna notice the helicopter at the top of a skyscraper in the middle of downtown with hundreds of people there. No one's gonna see it, okay?
What you thinking? Some assholes in my pool.
The crew's ready downstairs. Say the word and we crash the party.
Let's do it.
So it's a two-stage assault. You have the crew downstairs ready to push up through the elevator, and then there's the attack and assault from the roof, which is what we are in charge of. I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought I could do this tactically. I don't know why I had that thought in my head. Why would Volition allow you to secretly take out everybody? You could just drop in the middle of the exact middle of the party and have the exact same experience, because you have to get off the roof anyway in order to interrogate one of the Morningstar lieutenants to get the elevator code. After getting the elevator code, we're gonna fight our way downstairs where we're gonna open the elevator. I know, this is shocking and riveting gameplay, is it not? Doing so will allow the Saints into the penthouse. Now we're starting to feel like a gang, except for we really don't. The AI inside of Saints Row the Third are freaking terrible. From your homies to just random gang members, they're basically 150% useless. You will literally kill 100 to their 1 every single day of the week. Meaning having your gang here doesn't feel cool or exciting because you're not seeing them do anything. You're not feeling the impact of them doing the fights. You're not seeing them change any of the outcomes that are happening here. You just feel like you're constantly doing everything. Even in Saints Row 1, I feel like they did a better version of having your Saints and your gang members feel like they're actually contributing to what's happening. Now, obviously, the Morningstar are going to get reinforcements, but we have to ask ourselves one question. How the hell did they get up here if the Saints just took over the elevator and the elevator was locked beforehand? Yes, there's some helicopters outside, but they're also coming out of bedrooms that we've already secured and cleared out. It's just something worth noting as an issue. Like, the spawns are just as brutal in Saints Row the Third in 2011 as they were in 2006 with Saints Row 1. Oftentimes, you're going to feel a little bit like it's a little bit unfair when the enemy just constantly spawns around you. And unlike in the previous Saints Row games, there isn't a definite amount of enemies. If you don't trigger the next thing to happen, this will never stop. While we were fighting, Shondi and the rest of the gang realized that the building has been rigged to blow if they ever lost control of it. So of course, obviously, the only way that we can stop the building from blowing up is by chasing the lieutenant that knows which wire to cut across the entire city in a helicopter. I just need you guys to quickly sit back and think about the mission structure we've done so far. We've pretty much driven to a location, defended said location, and then the mission ends. That's all we've done so far, and in fact, we just did another version of it by landing at the penthouse, because we have to defend the elevator while the Saints got up there. Immediately, we follow those missions up with follow missions where we gotta follow somebody or something across the city. This will be common throughout the rest of the playthrough, but I'm only bringing it up because it's also common for the era in which this game was made. Pretty much every game from 2010 on was following the structure of let's make the person stand in one spot, fight a bunch of enemies and defend that location and then move to another spot. And if they're not defending a location, then we'll have them just follow an NPC across whatever we want them to. We all know who originally started this, and that was Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, a game that is pretty much all follow quests. This was amplified tenfold with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where they realized that you could also do follow quests on boats. But don't get me wrong, pretty much every game from 2010 up till even now modern day times has been like that. Destiny 1, Destiny 2, The Division 1, Division 2, every Assassin's Creed since Brotherhood, you name a game, it's pretty much followed this formula if it's made by a AAA studio. Hence why I'm noting it here and now. Eventually, we will follow the LT to his headquarters, land our not so quiet chopper, sneak up on him, take him hostage, and then get which wire we need to cut, which we will then call Shondi and let her know.
Tell me which wire defuses the bomb. The red wire! Cut the red wire! Thanks. It's the red one.
Damn, I lost a bet.
The Saints aren't going to back down.
Maddie, there's nothing to worry about.
My thoughts exactly, Mr. Kilbane. The Saints are no more than a white noise of empty threats.
With respect, sir. I'd say empty is no longer applicable.
Pierce, we waited long enough. Now we go for Loren.
It won't be easy. That whole tower's gotta be crawling with Morningstar.
Since when have we done things the easy way?
True. So what's the plan?
Kill everyone we see and find Loren.
Makes sense.
Meet me at the penthouse. I'll call Shondi. Shondi, it's time.
Just tell me where to be.
We're meeting at the penthouse.
I am gonna kill that son of a bitch.
Don't worry. He won't get away this time.
You bet your ass he won't.
That's a little big for you.
Give me the goddamn gun, Pierce.
Okay. All right, let's give that motherfucker what's coming to him.
So I breezed past it. When we went to the armory, we also stole a bomb. The reason why I breezed past it is because we never really saw it in our playthrough. I showed you everything that happened in the mission. Did you ever see this massive bomb get loaded onto anything? No. but I did see me do a bunch of other stuff. It's totally okay that that's the case. We knew we were picking up a bomb because we talked about it, so I'm okay with suspending my disbelief to know that we got the bomb. What we're tasked with is driving to the HQ, and in typical Volition fashion for 2011, we start our mission nowhere near that location so we could drive there. Some people will argue that they do this so then there can be a dialogue section so people can talk, but sometimes it's so far away that the dialogue ends long before you ever get there, and all you're left with is the repeating looping engine noise. It's really going to come down to your own personal taste. I'm somewhere in the middle, but eventually we will arrive at the Syndicate HQ where we are going to have to clear the loading dock so we can plant the bomb in which we stole from the military at the very beginning of the game. I also should lay a little bit of a disclaimer here. Now, it's going to seem like we fight a lot of brutes, but I need you to remember you're getting these missions back to back to back. In reality, I spent dozens of hours doing side activities and doing collectibles all around that you're not seeing. So when I'm saying that I didn't run into a lot of brutes, I'm meaning outside of main story missions. The brutes are pretty much the only difficulty increase between Saints Row 2 and 1 to Saints Row 3. So they are pretty much in every single mission. With that being said, we're going to kill the brute, and then we're going to be able to use the elevator after the bomb gets to the location. All we have to do first before going up the elevator is we have to arm the bomb. Just want to point out, we armed 3 bombs in the very first mission. We're only a couple missions in and we're arming another bomb. This is why people said Saints Row 3 kinda gets repetitive. It's gonna get worse moving forward. I'm just trying to keep you guys in the loop, like what's happening, you know? Why did people say it was repetitive? Why did they say this? Well, you're starting to see why right now. With the bomb armed, we can head upstairs.
What did you do?
It wasn't me. It just stopped.
Did you really expect to waltz right up to my office when I control the building?
I hate that asshole.
I also just found out that we actually do a lot with elevators after just kind of doing the editing. Think about it, the first mission, we had to fight our way to the elevator to be able to take out the safe. When we took over the penthouse, we had to fight and defend the elevator, and here we are once again fighting to get to the elevator. There's a lot of elevators in this game. I hope whoever designed the elevator loading screen got paid, you know, a couple extra dollars, because my god, did they ever put in more work than I thought. As we fight our way through this obviously set up trap from the Syndicate, we're going to realize that there's different versions of brutes. For example, we're going to run into the flamethrower brute, which is exactly as it sounds. It's a brute that has a flamethrower. The easiest way to kill them is to shoot the propane tanks on their backs, or the oxyacetylene. I don't know, what even goes into a fire from a flamethrower? The juices. Shoot the juices in the back of them. But because this is relatively early in the game, and this is the first time you run into them, you're going to struggle a little bit. There's nothing special about this segment. You simply fight your way through the same enemies you've been fighting this whole time. Now, for you guys, we're only an hour into this video, but it seems like we've gone about halfway through the game. The sad truth is this is like 4 missions in, and we've pretty much already seen everything that Saints Row 3 has to offer. Have we seen everything yet? No, but we pretty much have. After killing our way to the next room, we're going to find out exactly what these brutes are and who they are, and why they exist.
The hell is all this?
Philip likes his things custom made. And for his brutes, I am the master pattern, you see.
Why you still strung up if they already cloned your ass?
The copies are flawed. They have my brawn, but not my brain. I can help you.
The last time a big naked dude said he could help me, it did not end well.
What could he do anyway? Those wires and shit are probably keeping him alive.
Trust me, I'm still strong enough to kill Philippe.
You want some clothes, man?
No time.
Man, like I said, last time a big naked dude.
I'm just going to already establish that we're going to call him Oleg. So Oleg's going to lead us through the rest of the building, helping us open doors that we couldn't open by ourselves. Because meanwhile, we can kill hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gang members, we cannot, as the 3rd Street Saints, figure out how to open a door that is slightly hard to open. I also have to note a gameplay mechanic issue. The brutes, for some reason, whenever they hit a staircase, they immediately slow down to a comically slow pace. This was the same back in 2011 as it is now, and it's just something that's kind of funny. When you have to do missions with Oleg, it's annoying, but when you have to fight brutes, it's an easy mechanic to exploit in order to be able to get some free damage. Eventually, we will arrive in the official boardroom of the Syndicate.
Lorenz's office is this way. Damn it! That's an express elevator to the basement. There's no way to catch him.
Fuck that!
I've always found that part a little bit funny because it leaves such a long hanging part there where you're just hanging waiting for the rest of your gang members to figure out what you're about to do, but you never said what you're about to do. And I always think it would be funny if they just didn't do anything and you just hung there and your character had to yell at them to shoot this or that. And it always comes to mind because Volition left the end of that cutscene weirdly long and kind of janky. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hang here and we're gonna shoot a whole bunch of people while we hang here, and then we're gonna fall while shooting at brutes who are all of a sudden super easy to kill, because if they weren't easy to kill, then we might accidentally have something happen to us while falling. And this is all in hopes that we will hit the bottom at the same time as Loren leaves the elevator. There's a whole lot of hoping it works out when it comes to this mission, I'm finding out. At the end of some missions, you're going to be given a choice. In this case, we can either blow up the building and get a permanent respect bonus, or we can disarm the bomb and get a permanent cash bonus. I'm always going to choose cash over respect, as respect eventually caps out. Cash does not. This doesn't happen often, and I'll be sure to make sure you know that it has happened.
We're gonna have to do something about the pink.
You'd prefer a more manly shade, like purple?
When I left Stillwater for the Senate, I vowed never to forget my hometown roots. My husband gave his life defending Stillwater from gang violence. It is my greatest privilege to honor him with this bridge.
What the...
Who are these guys?
Time for the high spot, boys.
Whoever this crew is, they flow pretty damn good.
They're Killbane's thugs.
Kill who?
He's the Syndicate's attack dog.
What he did to Johnny's funeral. That's over the fucking limit.
He doesn't care about rules of engagement.
No rules? I could work with that.
You're not ready to fight the Syndicate.
Watch us.
Just relax, Shawnee. All right, big man, what do you got?
There are others who hate the Syndicate as much as you do. I will take you to them.
Can you believe this? On my husband's bridge! No, I will not come down. I am heading back to the hill. Book an emergency session. God damn it, this is war.
Just in case you're wondering, that is Senator Hughes' wife. He was assassinated during one of our Los Canales missions in the very first game, and she decided to make a bridge as his memorial. Few things to note here. One, how did the Saints get a whole bunch of cars when we own no territory and we have no cash flow, and somehow we've managed to outfit not only every single gang member with a car, but also get that car custom painted and or wrapped with our gang's colors? We have no cash flow as of this moment. Somehow we went from being the brokest in the city to having a small armada of rent-a-cars. Now, the Saints have to make some sort of allies, and in the absence of Johnny Gat, who basically made up for 10 Saints, we're gonna go pick up somebody named Kinsey. Kinsey's gonna be our computer hacker. It's kind of funny that we go and get a computer hacker when Oleg is just as smart as Kinsey. In fact, they're best friends because they are so smart. After picking up Kinsey, we're gonna have to head over to a barge where we're gonna fight a bunch of tech-decked out dudes from the Deckers. Pretty much Kinsey's gonna control the Deckers for the rest of it. Hacker versus hacker kind of stuff, and you'll understand why later. By killing everybody on the barge, we're able to save Kinsey, and then we can head off to get our next recruit, which is inside of a BDSM club. If you ever wanted to know how far Saints Row fell from Saints Row 2022, you have to look no further than this mission. We're literally in a building filled with a bunch of NPCs that have, like, you know, horse tails and gag balls and, you know, 16-foot long dildos. And we're about to go save a guy who's inside of a horse stable at the bottom of this BDSM club, who is then going to be inside of a chariot race. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but what I'm saying is we went from this kind of wacky over-the-topness, which might have offended some people back when this game was made in 2011, to Saints Row 2022, where every single mission you do has to be some sort of political statement. As I said earlier, we go and decide we're going to get a bunch of mecha burgers, which is a burger that turns into a robot. And while we do what sounds like it should be exciting, all we do is get told about how our teammate, our gang member, our friend Kevin is a bisexual orphan, and he really wants the toy so he can get rid of his childhood trauma. This isn't a joke. That's how far this franchise has fallen, from one extreme to the very opposite extreme. Eventually, we're going to find our new recruit, and then we're going to do one hell of an epic chariot BDSM man chariot race thing.
How we gonna find Zemos? Look for the cat in here who isn't excited to be eating a ball gag?
Or just look for the guy with the rhinestone Z on his back.
Fuck out of here, man. Oh, well, shit, that's convenient.
They went this way.
Oh, shit. We don't got time, Zemos. Mush!
This mission is all anybody could talk about when this game came out, by the way. This was the mission that everybody was like, yo, did you play that? And did you see what we did? And like, what was that? This is the mission. In The Last of Us, Joel dies, and in this mission, you run with BDSM gag balls.
Sorry about making you, pull us around.
This is a rescue, right? This ain't some elaborate setup for a gangbang. Why you gotta put that image in my head, bro? Oh, I'll go with rescue then. I would shake your hands, but them floors were a little sticky, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm good. Find a moist towelette or something. Hey, what's up?
I found the guy I was talking about.
So we need one more ally. We have Kinsey, who's going to handle the Deckers. We have Zemos, who's going to handle the Morningstars. But now we need somebody to deal with the Luchadors. And what better person to deal with the Luchadors than a person who used to be a Luchador and has a very personal grudge with Killbane, the leaders of the Syndicate, as well as the head of the Luchadors itself. So we're going to head over to Angel's Fight Club, where we're going to meet our newest ally and friend that we won't really actually see in my playthrough, mostly because I actually don't know why. You pretty much never see Angel at all unless you physically go look for him.
you're not one of Loren's brutes.
And you are not one of Kilbane's luchadors.
No, but they are.
Oh, man. You'll never guess what we're doing right now. We're about to defend the location for an arbitrary amount of time. It's never been done before in gaming. Volition was really pushing the limits of gaming and gameplay loops in 2011. Here's where we're gonna meet another version of the Brute, which is the minigun Brute. And that's all the Brutes that you need to know about. There's no other versions of it. You got the minigun Brute, you got the regular Brute, and you got the flamethrower Brute. And in between that, there's no other Brute. It's a little disheartening to be this early in the game, because believe it or not, we're not even done Act 1 yet. Well, technically, this is the first mission of Act 2, but it smoothly transitions into Act 2, and I'm just gonna keep it part of Act 1. It's just sad to see that very early on in the game, we've already seen the full max potential of what they were going to push for. They're pushing the boundaries in one direction when it comes to like humor. They're kind of crossing over that is it funny line for most people, while simultaneously being weirdly toned back by how far they're willing to push combat. I think if they had leaned fully into it, it would have been fine. It's kind of like Saints Row 4 leans really kind of into the superhero side, except for the main story missions all take you back away from it. Instead of just going full in, Volition seems to be balancing right on this tightrope of like how far can we take it, while simultaneously taking other parts of the game way too far. It's a hard thing to explain, but if you get it, well then you get it. And if you don't, then you're one of those people that can just simply enjoy things for enjoyment's sake, and that's perfectly fine. We have to talk about the biggest fucking problem with this game, pardon my French. It's the damn NPCs. They are basically useless. You're gonna watch me throughout this entire fight have to revive my homies non-stop because they're like, where should I stand? In front of the minigun. Where should I stand? In front of the flamethrower. This is frustrating because it forces you, the actual player, to have to go out of cover in order to save your allies who never use it. This will cost me many mission fails and having to repeat many sections of the game simply because the way that the developers developed the NPCs was absolutely fucking stupid. And yes, I'm going to say that because we're 3 games into the franchise now, and the problems that existed in Saints Row 1 in 2006 are the same problems we're having in Saints Row 3 in 2011. This is one of the biggest complaints when it comes to Saints Row. Both the enemy and allied NPCs are basically non-existent. They're so dumb it becomes boring, and there's no challenge to amplify the experience. It's hard to argue any other way, though many have tried to say that this is the way it was intended for arcade fun, but I would have more arcade fun if there was a little bit of difficulty that wasn't just bullet sponge. But having to go constantly revive your homies is absolutely frustrating, especially in missions that require you to cross a certain point in the mission in order to be able to progress. This will happen later with Stag, where our NPC keeps dying outside of the trigger spot, so I can't trigger the next part of the mission, but I also can't go backwards to save them. It's just something worth noting when playing the game, that you will be frustrated by allies, and I will not use my allies throughout this game when I don't have to because of this problem. Eventually, though, we will defend the clubhouse or fight club, whatever you want to call it, for long enough, and we can trigger the cutscene.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Philippe is dead, and we are at a crossroads. And the question is, who will lead the Syndicate to a new era?
Viola and Kiki were Mr. Loren's right hands.
I had someone else in mind.
Excuse me?
The Syndicate has to answer for what they did. And this time, we're taking the fight to them. Since we don't know Steelport, I brought in some people who do. This is Kinsey, Zemos, and Angel.
The barbarians are at the gate! We need a general, not an ambassador!
Calm down, Eddie.
What did you call me?
What would you like us to do, Kilbane?
Something. Anything! Before I wonder why I keep you bookends around!
Talk to one of these guys, they'll have things for you to do. It's our time now. Let's get this shit started.
In Act 1, I left out the fact that I was doing activities on the side. Now, not all activities are available to you right off the bat. You have to go through the story to unlock other activities as you play through. Just like in the previous Saints Row games, rep is a big importance in order to progress the story, but it's not as important as in Saints Row 1 and 2, if that makes sense. Saints Row 3 is a more linear story, meaning that you don't have to go and do individual gangs. You just play the missions in a row and you'll do a story. Where in the previous Saints Row games, you could take out, say, the Rollers by themselves and then move on to the Los Canales right after that. In Saints Row 3, you have to play the linear story, which means that it's a lot easier to get reps, so that's why I didn't include it in my initial part. So now let's go through the activity. My personal favorite activity is Genski's. Come on, you just go through an absolute insane arcade, killing a bunch of mascots and absolutely having a blast. The commentators are hilarious, the gameplay loop is absolutely incredibly fun, and it's one of my favorite activities to do in the entire franchise. And what they did to it in Saints Row the reboot absolutely pissed me off. Murder Island, blah blah blah, come on now. One thing I didn't really notice for a long time when I originally played this game is you just have to hit the score limit and then you can just run through and escape. Because the longer you stay in it, the harder and harder the game gets, and early on, you're not very high level, meaning that you're gonna get absolutely crapped on by the NPCs that are spawned in, especially the minigun brutes and flamethrower brutes. But later in the game, even those missions will become easy. So that's the first activity you can do inside of Saints Row 3. Insurance fraud makes its long-awaited return in Saints Row the 3rd, but it kind of just doesn't feel good. I don't know why. The original insurance fraud just felt right. If you got ran over a lot, you got lots of money. There wasn't this adrenaline thing. There wasn't this controlling your ragdoll through the air for 25 hours. It just feels good in Saints Row 1. Saints Row 2, they tried to make improvements, but the spawn rate of the cars didn't work, as we covered in our video. But in Saints Row 3, the fact that you can just basically, if you hit it the right way, you could fly around the map for hours and hours and hours, kind of immediately takes the fun out of it, because you don't actually have to work to get your medals or to complete the task. You just basically have to get your adrenaline once and then you're good for the rest of the entirety of the actual mission. It's a shame because it's such a simple concept. Do as much damage to your body as possible and get as much money as you possibly can, and for some reason Volition kept changing what worked about it in the first game. Rather than improving it, they constantly made it worse and worse and worse. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Insurance fraud in 1 just needed the cars to be a little bit more consistent. And then they decided to add the adrenaline feature in Saints Row 2 to try to offset the fact that the cars didn't spawn, but the cars still didn't spawn. Saints Row 3, they said, okay, the cars spawn, you also get this adrenaline feature, you're also going to be able to just basically beat the mission immediately. It's super sad because this used to be my favorite, but luckily we still got Genkis. Now, every time you take over an activity, you complete the activity, you get that district's spot on the map. That's how you take over territory in Saints Row the 3rd, as well as buying up properties and different businesses. Another way that you can take over a territory is by stopping the gang operation there. Sounds a lot cooler than it is. Where in the previous installments in the Saints Row franchise had things like strongholds and stuff like that, like gang operations where you'd go in and stop the drug trade or whatever. In Saints Row the 3rd, there's gang operations, which is basically a gaggle of the individual gangs, the Luchadors, the Morningstar, or the Deckers, standing around an area with burning buckets, and you show up and you take them out and then you get the territory. It's very similar to how you take over territory in GTA San Andreas. These are not hard. There's just a lot of them you gotta do, and they're scattered all over the place. But it's the closest you'll get to actually feeling like you're taking over the territory, if you get what I'm saying. Doing the activities, I don't understand why the rival gang would be like, well, he got hit by a car enough times, I guess we'll give him the territory. I can understand maybe Genkis, because if you survive that, like, who's gonna really mess with you? Moving on. Up next, we have Tank Mayhem. Now, this is absolutely 100% not hard to do at all. If you want to shut off your brain and you just want to blow stuff up, then Tank Mayhem's where it's at. But from a gameplay standpoint, the first time you do it, you're excited. The second time, you're like, okay. And by the time you hit it the third time, you're like, this is so stupid. Why am I doing this? And the reason for this is it's so brutally easy that it becomes almost insulting that they thought that you'd want to do it as many times as they make you do it. The only difficulty is that the more money you have to get, but this will never be hard. I honestly like to offer a solution when it comes to things that I just genuinely don't like, because otherwise you're just complaining, but I have no way that they could have made this better. And I really do believe this should have been like a one-off, like, main story mission where you have to rack up like $1 billion worth of damage while having set piece sections where you have to complete tasks. because as a standalone side activity, by the time you do that third one, you're just kind of like, I'm over it. It's like when you eat your first Reese's Pieces, you're like, this is pretty good. You eat the next 2, you're like, well, that was pretty good. But if you eat 60, you'd be like, this is starting to get very vile. Doing too much of this just blows stuff up, eventually just becomes repetitive and boring. And this was my exact sentiment way back when this game originally released to now. And it might just be my personal taste versus yours, but for me, I just found it kind of meh. It never got harder even when it said that this is a harder version. It just cost more money for you to be able to complete the mission, and even then sometimes you complete these in like 5-10 seconds. Up next we have Helicopter Mayhem, which isn't actually mayhem at all. It's following a random character that works with the Saints through the city. It's sometimes Kinsey, sometimes it's Pierce, sometimes it's Shandi. Through the city as they can just randomly stop at random locations and do whatever tasks that they say they're doing. It's loosely tied to the story, but nothing that happens here will affect your story at all, so it doesn't really matter. Calling it mayhem is an insult to the word mayhem because it's actually quite calm, and to be honest with you, it could have been a lot better if there just happened to be more enemies to shoot. You will literally walk through this. There is nothing that will happen in this mission where you'll ever be like, well, that was hard. The minimap shows where they're spawning anyways, and a lot of times they're just based off of where you are as the player, they will spawn sometimes nowhere near the actual target, which means you can ignore most of the things that are spawning around you. I think the solution to make this harder would have been to have more ground troops on the ground with RPGs, having helicopters attack us a little bit more frequently, and maybe just have more cars go after the target on the ground. These missions, by the time you realize that it's just following somebody, are just long for just being long's sake. The humor that goes with the mission is not good, and the fact that they reuse the same jokes, like Shandi stops for gas, and then, you know, Kinsey stops for gas, and then Pierce stops for gas, and every time they like, haha, I did that to make you mad kind of thing. It's not funny, and it just becomes grating when you have to do this as many times as you do, and it takes you 5-6 minutes per time that you do it. This one genuinely is just a time waster, and the game could have been better without it. That's my solution to fixing this one. Up next we have trafficking. I'm not going to waste your time with this one. It's the exact same as the previous 2 games. You are the passenger in a car while somebody else drives around and delivers packages of a certain substance to random people, and while you do that, you're going to be attacked from other gangs. What? No, I know. The only difference is that Saints Row 3 is extremely buggy, meaning sometimes the NPC just stands there and you're gonna have to fight off about 567,000 guys, all while keeping your car not blowing up. It's not hard, it's not different, it's not new, it's not unique, it's not special. We're moving on. Now we're talking about trailblazing. Trailblazing has 2 variants within Saints Row 3. In this variant, we're gonna look at the same one we've always seen. The other variant sucks because it's not really fun at all to do, and it's super boring, but I'll let you figure that one out on your own. We're going to focus on the fun version of trailblazing, which is this version where you got to rip through the city with your fiery quad, blowing shit up while trying to make sure you beat your fastest time. I'm not going to lie to you guys, this is the best one out of the trailblazing from any of the games because it feels the most fun. The controls work with it, the graphics work for it, everything works for it, and trailblazing is at its peak when it's not Kinsey's version of trailblazing. Kinsey's version of trailblazing is terrible. I prefer this version. Hers is just driving through a digital world on a Tron bike, and it is so boring. It's not even worth me. I'm not even going to talk about it. This is the version you want to see. This is the version you're going to want to do. This version's fun as hell. Next, we have Escort. Escort, once again, is pretty much the exact same as before, for the most part, except for in this one, there's also a goddamn tiger. Angel decided that the best way for us to move forward and learn how to deal with Killbane would be for us to drive fast with a tiger in the car. This is fucking terrible, for lack of a better word. It is so boring, it's so stupid, and when the tiger swipes at you, you randomly crash into things that simultaneously you have to avoid vans and stuff like that. It's just so bad. You could tell that this is where Saints Row started to try to drift away from the hookers and stuff like that. Not saying that those missions don't exist in the game. What I'm saying is that you could tell that they were making the switch, and I do believe that this is once again a perfect example of if it's not broken, don't fix it. Because the escort missions were chaotically fun. Did they have their issues? Yes, but they were at least chaotically fun. This is just annoying. There's no way to stop the tiger from swiping at you, and there's no consistency in the tiger swiping you. In fact, it's almost designed so every time it swipes you, you crash. I hated the tigers. I hated it. It was stupid. It was dumb, and it shouldn't have been in the game. I don't care what you say. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you on this one. Next, we have Mayhem. Man, whoever came up with the names for the side activities, that guy needed a raise ASAP, because these are some unique, they're unique names, okay? They are extremely unique. So just like in Tank Mayhem, in Mayhem, you also just blow up stuff until you hit the number. I will be honest, it's tons of fun. You can't not have fun with this. And at least unlike the Tank Mayhem, it's not so stupidly easy that you immediately become bored after a couple times of doing it. I will admit there's some of the sections where the Mayhem is extremely hard just simply based off the region that you're in. Some regions just lack the, overabundance of targets, and what ends up happening is you have to travel quite far in order to do the damage. You're also limited by the range in which you can go by a circle on the minimap, meaning you can very easily step outside of the zone in which you need to be in to collect points. That's the difficulty, is just hoping you get the right location and you don't accidentally leave the zone. But it's still fun, don't get me wrong. Next, we have Snatch. Snatch is Snatch. The only difference in this game is that it looks better. I'm not even going to waste your time. You go around, you pick up hookers, you bring them back. That's it, that's all. Lastly, we have the Guardian Angel side activity. These are both in the main story, like they're mandatory in order to progress, as well as a side activity that pops up. These missions they're okay. The concept's really cool. Like for instance, in the beginning of this one, we start off as a sniper protecting our ally as he moves through the region. That part's cool, but then it devolves into basically doing helicopter mayhem again. It's not even a lie. The main story one has us do it in reverse. We start off in the helicopter and end up in the sniper's perch. This is just literally escort and helicopter mayhem mashed together. It's okay. It's not the best. It's not the worst. They tried to do something here, and I just feel like they didn't have the creativity. Saints Row 1's activities were absolutely insane. They were all over the place. I think there was like 14 or 15 activities to do. Saints Row 2 improved on those activities for the best, and some of them for the worst. Saints Row 3 has 9 main story activities, not including running around doing collectibles and stuff like that. And each one of these is easily worse than the previous 2 installments. In fact, this is what many people have said is one of the criticisms of Saints Row 3. It lacks that polish and that fun. It's almost like there's something there that stops you from quite being as fun as it should be. Like an invisible wall or something like that. I don't know how to explain it. It's more of a feeling if you play the game than anything else. While the activities have fun moments, none of them are overall fun. The funnest one to do is literally the trailblazing, and somehow they managed to screw that up in Saints Row 3 as well. Now, obviously, each and every one of these individual activities is going to be completely biased to the person who's playing it, and I'm not opposed to that. There will be people who like and don't like these missions, and that's completely fine, and if you like the missions I don't like, then that's totally cool. But for my playthrough, looking back and comparing Saints Row 3 to the previous 2 installments, it is very much lackluster when it comes to the side activities. It feels like everything is half-baked, half-cocked, and halfway there, where they wanted to go full force into a direction but decided to, go halfway there and just call it a day. Every one of these activities would have been way better if they just leaned a little bit more towards the direction that they were going. And as a player, you can feel that difference. You can feel the fact that they're holding themselves back. Needless to say though, Genki's is by far the best addition to Saints Row 3 and should have been in the franchise moving forward as well as before. Other than that, the side activities are completely mid, and I think that's okay. I think Saints Row and having their activities be mid is completely fine. We can now get back to Act number 2. Just so you guys are aware, by doing all of the side activities in the city and completing Act 1, we are 53% of the way done the video game. Yeah, there's not much to it, it's just mostly side activities. Saints Row 1 and 2, 60% of the game was side activities. Saints Row 3 at least dropped it down a little bit, but 53% already? My goodness.
Did you approve this? Did you?
Hey, slow down there, girl. Approve what?
Johnny's funeral gets attacked and Pierce invites a bunch of hoes over.
Wait, hoes?
Don't even fucking start.
All right, let me talk to him.
Fine. I'm heading to the crib too.
I meant just me.
As we drive over to the headquarters, can we just take a moment to realize that this is the first time in the Saints Row franchise where we realize that we're going to become babysitters of the people that are around us, and that this very mission would eventually turn into the entire premise of Saints Row the reboot that would come out in 2022, where you spend an entire video game babysitting every single character that you work with inside of your video game, as well as inside of your gang, from a bisexual orphan named Kevin to a weird-ass nerd named Eli, into a girl that is so obsessed with a car it breeds on should have been on that show, My Strange Obsession. This mission is literally the entire premise of the entire reboot. Okay, I'm being a little dramatic, but I didn't want to listen to the engine constantly recycle its sound. Let's get to the headquarters. Like, longer than a 5-second loop would have been so good, Volition. Would have been so freaking good.
Johnny's dead and you're throwing a fucking party?
Well, when you say it like that, sure it sound bad.
I was saddled up in a human pony show. Will you see me crying about a little girl?
I swear to God, I will shove that thing down your throat hole.
Whoa, Shandi. We can't mourn Gat forever. Eventually, you gotta get back on the horse. No offense, brother.
He's right.
Whatever.
Damn, girl! Life is for the living and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, it's so pretty, it's silly. All I do is spit down, yeah, I get busy. On the dance floor, I'm too witty. Get close, get low, yeah, get busy. I'm a money's in the place, grind. Get low, move side to side. I'm a money's in the place, grind. Get low, move
What's up, girl?
Get low, move side to side. I'm a money's in the place, grind. Get low, move side to side. Every weekend is a London thing. A London thing is a serious thing. Hustle, get low, get them monies. Roll with the top down.
Oh shit! These hoes ain't hoes!
Let's be honest, it wouldn't have been any fun to go to third base with them if they're able to pull on a full-on AK-47 out of their hoo-ha. That shit would have been like throwing a hot dog down a hallway, so this wasn't really worth our time anyway. Turns out that the ladies of the night that we got are actually working for a rival gang. Bum, bum, bum. And so now we have to do what we do best, which is kill everything that's in front of us for the 300,000th time. It's actually kind of nice that the fight was brought to us. One of the things that was really bad about Saints Row 2 was the fact that the gangs never really brought the fight to the Saints, except for that one gang, the Samity. The one thing I will give credit to the Syndicate is that they are not scared to bring the fights to the Saints. They're not scared to set up ambushes. They're not scared to set up traps. And it actually makes it feel a lot better than if it was just us constantly on the attack while the other gang just sits there and takes it, just like it was in Saints Row 2, as well as the two gangs inside of Saints Row 1. So I'm here for it, I'm not going to lie to you. Now, this is essentially a repeat of the mission we already did when we took over the penthouse, except for with a couple extra steps, as well as a whole lot of reviving our homies, so we don't really need to spend too much time here. We're going to kill the first wave of Ladies of the Night, and then we're going to end up having to save Pierce, who's being overwhelmed by his fight with the Ladies of the Night. And then after some time, we're going to end up having to fight a bunch of sniper Ladies of the Night who, for some reason, are dressed just like the hookers inside of our apartment, but are standing on buildings all around us. So apparently this gang's entire portfolio of costumes is just slut. And if you are a sniper, a helicopter pilot, or a high-level gang member and our lady, you are just dressed like this. Sexy assassins is what I'm going to call them. Then they're going to turn off our power by cutting the wires, which is very clearly stated, and then we're just going to go flip the breaker, and that's going to turn on the power again. That's how wires work, ladies and gentlemen. After turning on the power, Oleg's going to give us a call, letting us know that there's going to be helicopters attacking us, and we're going to have to go deal with that problem. Which isn't actually hard at all, because we have a plot rocket launcher, so taking out the choppers is going to be relatively easy, and then the mission ends. It's essentially exactly a repeat of when we attacked this penthouse, except for now it's the rival syndicate attacking the penthouse. Like, it's the exact same thing. They did everything we did, just in the order where we had to defend it. And now, it's time for one of the twins to die.
Hooker assassins?
They came highly recommended.
Ladies, It was a pretty shit plan.
Tell me something, Matt. Did you have a plan? How about you, Eddie? There's a reason Philippe left the thinking to us. We're done here.
Kilbane!
Relax. You only need one of them. Viola, your sun is setting. But it's not too late. There's still time to grab Apollo's chariot and drive that fucker back across the sky. You feel me?
Yes, Kilbane.
Apology accepted. Hey, I'll comp you a VIP faster murder brawl. That'll cheer you up.
Earlier I told you that there's variations to some of the side activities. For instance, the escort mission also has a tiger part, which I showed you. Well, because I completed all of the side activities before continuing with Act 2, we have a couple missions that are going to be over immediately because they're the introduction missions to those activities, but it seems how I've already done all the activities, there's nothing for us to do. So we're going to call Angel. He's the guy who issues us our Face Our Fears mission, which is where we have to drive around with a goddamn tiger in our car. And then we're going to drive to him, and then the mission's over because we've already done it.
Angel, where are you?
I see you made it to the final test.
Answer my question.
At the gym, training.
Don't move. A fucking tiger?
If you're fighting the luchadors, you need to be ready for anything.
A fucking tiger?
Don't lose the message in the method. You mastered your fear.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You're ready to face Kilbane, but the luchadors must still be dealt with. You know where to find me if you need more training.
Now, I didn't show you Kinsey's mission, but Kinsey's mission is a trailblazing mission, except for you have to drive through like a digital wire or whatever. It is so bad. I hated it. And I just forgot to record them. If I'm being honest with you, I forgot to record them. But I also hated them, okay? But we did all of her trailblazing missions for the Deckers, so when we go to meet Kinsey, the same thing's going to happen. We're just going to immediately get the cutscene and be able to move on.
Kinsey, how's the information you got on the Deckers coming?
It's compiling.
So what's next?
Not talking over the phone now. Too many people could be listening.
Okay.
Smiling Jacks. Go there.
Okay.
You should be more careful. I saw you coming 2 blocks ago. Traffic cameras. They're everywhere in this town.
Good to know.
I'm serious. You should toss out your fancy overpriced phone. I can find you through that too.
Yeah, look, I feel kind of weird having a conversation like this.
Totally agree. We should be using like that Navajo code dialect.
Come on, fair. I took care of the Deckers.
Sure. Let down your guard and suddenly they make it look like you're selling secrets to Mossad and moonlighting as a dominatrix. We've created a big enough disruption for you to move on Matt Miller. But if you want the Deckers gone, like really gone, there's a lot of work to do.
All right. I'll hit you up if I need any more help.
Remember, throw out your phone!
One last time, I have to say, because we've done all the side activities, we're able to just kind of breeze through this next mission without having to do anything. We're going to call Zemos, but we've already done all his missions. So we're going to call him, then we're going to drive to him, and then he's going to kind of give us a rundown, and we're ready to start making moves against the rival gangs. The Morningstar, the Luchadors, the Deckers, as well as the overarching umbrella of the Syndicate. I'm a person who likes to do all the side activities first if it's mandatory to the game, which it is in the case of Saints Row. You don't have to do them all, but I like to own all the territories. So let's get this done.
Now that you're back in business, we can focus on the Morningstar.
Oh, you need to slow down, baby.
No time.
Come to the Palace of Zemo. I got something here to show you.
What for?
I've been helping you out right. Humor me.
Fine. That is one ugly fucking painting.
You fucking Philistine. What you know about art? That's a DeWinter Sisters original. Bought that back in the day when me and the twins were all live and let live.
Well, seeing how we just let them know we taking over their business, I doubt that deal's gonna hold.
Shit. Remember the pony show? I've been off that Christmas list a long time. Anyway, I didn't call you over to talk about me. You killed Philippe Loren and showed the Morning Star that you are here to stay. Time to relax and cut loose, baby.
No, we'll party once the work's done. I'll call you when I make another move against the Morning Star.
We haven't really talked about it too much because I personally believe that the upgrades are an afterthought and it was just done in order to incentivize the player to feel like there's progression. In all reality, I don't get it and I don't really like it, but I have been doing the upgrades in behind the scenes. So if you've wondered why we started doing more damage or things seems a little bit easier, it's because I spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy stuff in an app on a phone so then I could have more powers in real life. That's how it works, okay? So we are finally ready to start taking the fight to the Luchadors, the Deckers, as well as the Morning Star and the overarching umbrella of the Syndicate and start taking down Killbane's operations. And we're going to start where everybody should start, and that's with Pimps and Hoes. We're going to be calling up Zemos.
Man, I don't want to hear it.
What, did you fucked up?
Yeah, man.
Z, you fucked up.
I know, but I can make it up to you.
Why? You got a plan to put some hurt on the Morning Star?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Like what?
Meet up first, it's a surprise.
I ain't gonna like this shit, am I?
Who knows, you might be into it.
And while no group has taken credit for the attack in Stillwater, we have ignored its root cause. Our uncontrolled media and the good soul to our children have fetishized gang culture and turned sociopathic madmen into heroes. No more! Those responsible for this act of terror will be found and held accountable. The Stag Initiative marks a milestone in taking back the streets of America.
The hell is the Stag Initiative?
If it's free porn for everyone, I am down.
So what's the lead?
Oh, I got you hooked up, Slim.
Very discreet.
That's an invitation to kick the Morning Star right in their collective pussy. They having an auction tonight. Flash the card. You're in.
So what, I pretend to be an eccentric millionaire?
Kinda. I'm gonna auction you off as a sex slave.
Fuck that.
Oh, quit being a bitch and get in the van.
So I'm currently playing through Saints Row 2022, the reboot, and it's so funny to see these missions and how our character acts versus the missions that are inside Saints Row the reboot and how our character acts then. And I couldn't help but think that if my character from Saints Row 2022 was in this game, he would have been like, oh shucks, that's gonna be very offensive. We really need to be thinking about the other people who may not be able to be sex slaves and their disability. Anyway, you guys get it. You guys will understand when we get to the Saints Row reboot. I have to say, regardless of how you feel about the first 5 games, the characters at least feel like they fit the personalities that they have. The characters in the reboot, my god, I can't do it. It's just funny to compare the two in my brain. Moving on. I was always a little confused on why we were drugged when we voluntarily came here with Zemos, but it is what it is, and we're gonna have to fight through this room naked. Luckily, the game automatically censors it, so I don't have to worry about doing it myself. We're gonna have to fight a whole bunch of the Morning Star, while simultaneously being blurry screened and falling over constantly because we were drugged, even though we voluntarily came here with Zemos. Our first overall task is to override the security, and then we're going to have to kill more Morning Star inside of the lobby, eventually pushing ourselves downstairs to the sex cages, where the livestock is being held for their upcoming auction. Little serious note, it's kind of disgusting to think that places like this actually exist in the real world, and in this video game it's funny and quirky, but in the real world it's sad and in Saints Row 2022 and you guys. Back in the day, people were just like, what is going on here? This is just pure chaos. Saints Row 3 definitely was pushing the envelope of what we would accept. I even remember reading and watching news reports about how offensive Saints Row was. Did I care personally? No. It's a video game, and if you don't like it, you can always hit power. I know, it's baffling. Along the way through the sex cages, as we free up the girls that are inside of them and the boys and the weird transgender versions of Oleg, they will fight on our behalfs to help push back the Morning Star until eventually we get to the garage, where we're gonna have to fight a brute. By this point in the game, we're pretty much mid-tier level, so fighting the brutes are not really that hard at all. But I will say that we heavily rely on our double pistols and double SMGs. I find it's the easiest way to deal with everything because it's the most powerful weapons in the game, in my opinion. Other people think it's the AR, and those people are wrong. With the brute dead, we just escape. That's it. I don't really know why we came here, other than to just let these people out, but they never made it out because they all died anyway. We killed so many people here. So many people died for no reason, but they had a chance at freedom, and that's why we're the good guys.
Hey Z, I'm thinking the Morning Star need to feel the pressure.
Let's meet up and do a little hunting around town.
Cool. How about we, oh, hold up, man. I got a call coming in.
Is this the man who runs the Saints?
Yeah, girl. But you have to go through our PR department.
I'm not calling for a story. I'm calling regarding a shipment of girls Morningstar bringing into Steelport.
Hold up. Who is this?
Viola DeWinter. I run Morningstar.
Then why the fuck would you be telling me this?
Because the syndicate needs to burn.
No shit.
I sent you the information on the boat. Do whatever you want with it.
Zemos, I think I have a better idea. Get Pierce and wait for me.
Good, because I didn't really have a plan.
Loud pussy on that thing.
And once it's ours, the Morning Star sex operation is done.
How you gonna move all the bitches?
Just let me worry about that. Now let's go. I want to meet my new employees.
While we rip over to the cargo ship, we have to state that this is very similar to the mission in Saints Row 2 where we had to rip over to the cargo ship and then find the weapons on board, except for this time we're finding ladies of the night and other things along the way that are questionable. Very questionable. Intriguing maybe, but mostly questionable. Okay, I'm off track. What we gotta do is we gotta go head to the boat and then we gotta open a bunch of containers. Some containers are gonna have sex toys in them, some containers are gonna have ladies of the night, and other containers are gonna have giant brutes that are gonna try to kill us. Along the way, we're gonna have to fight a bunch of Morningstar. You're probably going, CEO Shorty, why are you rushing through this? So the quick answer is that YouTube's pretty strict on stuff like this, so I don't want them to see what's inside the container. After freeing all the ladies of the night, guess what we're going to have to do? And if you guess that we're going to have to stand here and defend this boat while we wait for Pierce, well then you would have been 100% right. How did we know this was going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you how we knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen because we already did it 6 or 7 other times. 6, 7. I'm so sorry for that. I'm sorry. Pierce is going to take his sweet time getting over here because, well, it's Pierce, and every time he seems to be needed, he takes his sweet time getting over here. Literally every single time, it's been 3 times now in this video game, he has taken his sweet time getting over here. Then, as we go through this, eventually we're going to end up on the chopper, and we're going to have to defend the chopper and the other chopper with the, the ladies of the night hanging from sea cans. Con-axes, I know they're called different things all over the world. It's a sea can here in Canada. And I will state that sometimes the camera angle isn't the best. It's better than in Saints Row 2, but sometimes the way that the vehicles work and the way that the helicopters are, you just can't see them. So you just hope that eventually they get back in camera. And I'll be honest, they usually do. At the end of this mission, we're going to be given the choice. Either sell the ladies of the night back to the Morningstar, or we can give them to Zemos. Obviously, one gives us a respect bonus, one gives us a cash bonus. We choose the cash bonus because, once again, respect kind of caps out. And anything at the higher levels just kind of breaks the entire game, like unlimited sprint, unlimited health, all that kind of stuff. But that's the mission we had to blow through because I can't show you everything that's going on here. I'll get in trouble.
What the hell were you thinking, Maddie?
It just seemed like a waste to lose all those girls.
I am the general. I'm the czar. I'm the walking apocalypse. And I make the decisions, not you!
My bad, mate. So what happens now?
Ah, we buckle down! We focus. We don't do a run-in, we hit him with a Montreal screw drop. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Now listen up.
My esteemed colleagues, the time is now. We have deployed Stag to Steelport.
Something about Viola helping us with that boat's been bothering me, Oleg.
Nothing good will ever come from that woman.
You think they want to clone me?
No offense, but with my DNA, why would they need yours?
Oh, I got a lot to offer. Looks like she does too. Hold on, Oleg.
I'm glad the shipment worked out for you.
And I'd be glad if you got to the point.
You need to trust me.
That's a tall order.
I'll send you my location. Bring someone if you wish. I won't be offended.
Ready to make a new friend, Oleg?
I wouldn't want to miss killing her if she tries something uncivil.
So we're going to drive to meet with Viola. I actually really like Viola, and I wish she had a bigger role in the franchise. It's actually a common thing, if you think about it through my reviews, there's been characters that I get attached to that never seem to last that long. But I guess that's just the way she goes. I think it's pretty clear why Viola's switching it up on the Syndicate and Killbane. Well, it's because, Killbane kind of killed her sister. Not only her sister, her twin sister, and if you know anything about twins, is that they have a special bond. So it really does make sense that Viola would switch teams here. But one thing that we haven't really talked about is Stag. It keeps getting mentioned. We've heard it in the background, we've heard it in news reports, and we've seen it in multiple cutscenes. Well, we're about to figure out exactly who Stag is. It's basically S.H.I.E.L.D. from Marvel's Avengers. There's literally no way to explain it any other way. They're just a secret private military that has been hired now to take out the gangs inside of Steelport. And boy, oh boy, do they come in with force.
I didn't realize you were a patron of the arts, Viola.
We never really had the chance to chat. What, with you being a science experiment?
I wouldn't piss off the big guy.
Look, I'm not here to fight. We need to work together.
Right. Johnny's dead because of you.
Johnny's dead because he thought he could do everything on his own.
So what's in it for you?
I get to watch Killbane suffer.
Can you play nice?
Like I'm always gentleman.
What is that?
Nothing good. Let's go.
Ladies first.
Kia, status.
The Saints have taken cover with one of the De Winter sisters. We're about to move in.
Roger that. Contact me once you secure the area.
Yes, Commander.
Well, the Special Tactical Anti-Gang Unit has now arrived. The person in charge of Stag is Cyrus Temple, and the second in command is Kai, the person we just saw. They're basically here to replace the police that are not really doing their job. And by golly, are they heavily armored and extremely funded. We're gonna fight our way through the strip club, of course it's a strip club, until we get to the roof. Now, Stag's doing a classic thing of show of force. They're doing shock and awe. They're showing you everything they got, and they're making sure that you feel like you can't compete. But what they're not showing you is the fact that they have invincible soldiers. Coming up, I'm going to let you watch an entire fight between me and a soldier where I empty multiple magazines into him. This is something I referenced earlier in the video where I said that sometimes the game just doesn't play fair, where all of a sudden it just seems like everything's going against you. And this is the best example I have of it through the entire video. You will see me shoot one soldier with multiple magazines and he's completely and utterly fine. There's nothing different about him. And then you'll see me turn slightly to the left and I will shoot the same exact soldiers and they will go down relatively quick. And then I'll turn back around and I will shoot the same soldier I was already fighting before multiple times and he still won't go down. This is something that Saints Row likes to do once in a while just to make the game weirdly frustrating. I swear to God, it's a deliberate choice at this point, because it happens so frequently that it's hard to believe that it's not a deliberate choice. If this soldier had some sort of armor icon or something that distinguished him as tougher, I would have no issues with it, but he's just a regular grunt, and you're going to watch me struggle to put him down.
Got too much skill.
Impressive, friend.
When in doubt, RPG it out. You guys could see I was hitting my shots, I was doing my thing, man, and it just wouldn't go down. This is common inside of Saints Row 3 where you'll run into enemies like this, and usually what ends up happening is you either A, have to trigger something else to take them out, maybe a car or a tank, or maybe you just let Oleg throw them around, or you whip out your most powerful gun and just hope to God it works, which is what we did here. Eventually, Oleg's gonna sacrifice himself to take off after a jet. Oleg's not gonna die, but he's gonna make it so we can escape. Thanks to Oleg's sacrifice, our character, the boss, or playa, or whatever you called yours, Jiminy Crickets, are able to escape with Viola, and all we have to do is get back to the Saints HQ. I always find this a little bit funny because you have to just look at it and nitpick a little bit in order for it to be funny. It's probably not going to be funny, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I think it's funny that after every mission where we get chased, we just drive back to our house, and for some reason, the people who chased us through the entire city are like, oh, well, they went home. We can't go in there. And they just drive away and forget all about everything we just did. In fact, the way that the notoriety system works inside of Saints Row 3 is as long as you own the building, the store, and or the location, and you walk into it, immediately everybody chasing you just leaves. They just go, well, you know what? He went in that building. I'm gonna forgive him for everything he just did. Sure, he killed 157 of my best friends, but you know what? He walked into that clothing store, so he's good to go. Once we get home, we'll be greeted by a cutscene showing that the city is very much a different place now.
My name is Cyrus Temple, commander of the Special Tactical Anti-Gang Unit. I'm here to answer your questions about the Stag Initiative.
Excuse me, sir, one question, please. How long will Stag be occupying Steelport?
There is no occupation. We have the full support of Mayor Reynolds.
How will Stag impact our daily lives?
When we win the war on urban terror, you and your families will be safe again.
Sir, that's not what I asked.
Let me tell you about Jessica Parrish, a girl from Stillwater who ran away from home to be with her tough guy boyfriend. Jessica thought her life was pretty sweet, until a gangbanger kidnapped her, threw her in the trunk of a car, and laughed as her boyfriend crushed her in a monster truck rally. If Jessica Parrish was your daughter, how far would you want me to go? Thank you for your time.
That was me. I did that. I'm the one who threw Jessica into the truck and then had her boyfriend run her over with a monster truck. That was me. I'll take credit.
With Stag in town, we need to be careful, Pierce.
Huh? Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Our place might be compromised.
Whatever you say.
And we should get some horses and mount a charge on Stag.
Alright, I'll get on that.
Damn it, Pierce. I'll be over in a bit.
Sure. See you soon.
Now, it might have seemed like Pierce was having sex, but he's actually not. You'll see here in a minute. We're going to take the fight to Stag. What I do like about the Saints Row franchise and the 3rd Street Saints is they're not scared to run straight at the problem. So a new problem arose, being Stag, and our characters just like, you know what? We're going to go take them out right now. And I like that because that's very similar to how I dealt with problems in the military. If I saw a problem, I just charged at it head on, and it usually worked itself out.
Pack it up, we gotta move.
I got 20K on this game. Damn!
Now it's a draw.
This isn't over.
So, it's not safe here. You guys clear this place out, I'll buy you some time.
Our first task in this mission is driving straight to the Stag's base, blowing up everything around us, and then stealing one of their VTOLs. Simultaneously, our gang members, our, elite lieutenants, are around the city causing chaos, moving merchandise, moving weapons, and just overall creating distractions so our character can do what he needs to do, which is wreak havoc against Stag. Basically, we're forcing Stag to fight a war on multiple fronts and thinning out the resources they have at any one given location, making it easier for every individual location to be taken over, and or for that individual battle to be won. It's pretty smart, and I like to think that I came up with that idea all on my own. So getting to the military base, we're going to steal their VTOL. And then immediately after stealing the VTOL from Stag, we're going to destroy the Stag base with the Stag VTOL that we just stole from Stag. Then we're just going to be tasked with flying around the city, destroying different bases on top of different buildings. There's a few bases to choose from, so the order that you do the bases is going to be different than the one that I do. I like to go to whatever's closest because I don't want to have 500 million terabytes worth of footage to have to edit through. Then we're going to get a call that the merchandise and the weapons that we're moving through the city away from our main HQ are currently being blocked by, well, let's call it, let's make up a word that's never been heard before, a blockade. So we're going to rip over there and we're going to take out the blockade so the convoy can keep moving. I actually like this. I feel like there's a bunch of stuff happening all at once, and I feel like for the first time in this game, the 3rd Street Saints are actually doing stuff that feels like they're putting some thought behind it. I understand that the cutscene makes it look like, hey, we're just going to go right at this and we're just going to do whatever and it'll eventually work out. But there's actually some thought here. Immediately after defending the convoy, we're going to be sent over to take out a Stag base underneath an overpass. Nothing's going to happen to us. Why? Because we're badasses and this just doesn't affect us at all. Then we're going to get a call from Oleg. He's been creating a distraction over at the city park, but he's starting to get overwhelmed and he's requiring our help. So we're going to head over there and we're going to fight a whole bunch more Stag while Oleg does his thing down below. Once again, it's not that hard, and I really do think that Saints Row maybe suffered a little bit of imbalancing when it comes to the vehicles, because the second that you get a tank or you get a good armored vehicle or you get a helicopter, you're basically invincible, and it's going to be your own human error that's going to cause you to fail anything that involves one of these things. In fact, I had to deliberately choose not to take the immediately accessible attack helicopter and go do all the gang operations just so I could not have that kind of like, this game is too easy mode. But in all honesty, you can do a lot of the side activities like the gang operations by just taking a helicopter, and you can do them all in like 5-6 minutes and then you're done. That's how imbalanced it is. Once we protect Oleg at the park, we're going to have to take the Shield aircraft carrier. I mean Stag aircraft carrier. This isn't hard at all. You just fly over there, you shoot the VTOLs, then you shoot the engines, and then the entire thing goes down. I will be honest with you though, the controls for the VTOL are a little bit annoying, but we get the job done.
I'm Joshua Burke. Hey. On TV, I play Nightblade, an exceptionally good-looking but misunderstood vampire who risks life and limb every week to keep the world safe. The men and women of Stag put their lives on the line every day to protect your city against gang violence. Want to be a real-world hero? Talk to your Stag recruiter today. I know I have.
Nightblade's the face of Stag? Why don't you just put someone in a fucking deer suit?
Hearts and minds will win the war, my dear.
Shock and awe wins wars, Senator. Authorize the data list and this will all be over.
Absolutely not.
That kid's gonna get himself killed.
Will you ensure Josh Brooks' safety, or I'll find someone who can. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Pierce, you worked out a way to hurt Stag yet?
Yeah, Viola's on her way to meet me now.
Viola?
We need her, talents.
What are you planning?
Swing by. I'll fill you in.
This mission is a perfect example of how to be quirky enough that it's okay, but not too quirky where it's over the top. And I like to think that this mission spawned the entire sequence of the LARPing section of Saints Row 2022. Except for in this mission, it feels kind of fun, where the LARPing in 2022 just feels so bad. It also ties to the fact that the Saints are more than just gangs, they're celebrities.
Huh. Oh look, Pierce can read.
Girl, I ain't gotta explain myself to you. Stag is using Nightblade as their mascot. We snatch the punk,
and we draw out Stag.
Set it up right, we get the drop on those motherfuckers.
Excuse me? Can you sign this?
The fuck is this?
Dude, it's Johnny's comic. He sold his likeness to Ultor. They're making a movie out of this shit.
Remind me to call Legal Lee about this.
Thank you.
All right, so how do we find Burke? The chump could be anywhere.
Look, we lay the right bait, he'll come to us. That's why I need you and the new girl.
My name's Viola.
Your name's the Bloody Canoness.
You can't be serious.
Works for me.
Okay, so we do have to talk with each other here. Let's sit down, okay? And if you're already sitting, stand up, then sit back down. This is where the game's gonna start to get extremely repetitive. This is the exact spot, this mission right now. We're heading to the PR center and moving forward pretty much every single mission where we go against Stag, we drive to the PR center and then we drive away from the PR center. This is exactly why people started to say that Saints Row 3 isn't a repetitive game. Because rather than coming up with new and exciting things to do, they're just like, no, send them back to the same location. Now, personally, for me, I don't have any issues with reusing of a location, as long as it's done properly. When I returned to the HQ in Saints Row 1, the church, I never thought about it once, because every time I went there, something new and unique was happening. When I played Assassin's Creed and I had to return to the Assassin's Bureau in Assassin's Creed 1, I never thought about it because every time I went there, something was developing. Every time I return to the PR center, I'm basically doing the exact same thing over and over again and then just running back home. So this will be the start of that. When we get to the PR center, we have to fight our way through a bunch of Stag guards all the way up to the production room, where we're going to meet Nightblade, and while doing that, we look like extras in his movie. I kind of dig all the outfits, to be honest with you. I think they're cool, but who's to say I'm not a nerd? I'm a nerd. I'll say it. I'll say I'm the nerd.
I am Nightblade. I have no fear. I will save Marion. I will destroy Mr. X.
Hey, you guys want to do some warm-ups before we shoot? You look familiar.
Really?
Let's get out of here.
Now, I told you that our NPCs or our allies or our homies or our gang members are kind of stupid. Said this a few times throughout the video, but sometimes it's not their fault. Like when we walk into a room and that room isn't supposed to have the door closed, and then that door closes and my homie gets stuck on the other side, and then that part of the map de-renders, so she falls into the everlasting abyss below the map. And so I get a prompt to revive our homie, but our homie doesn't exist because she has been absolutely eviscerated Thanos style. And because of this bug, I end up failing the mission. This happens more than I would like to admit. This actually happens quite a lot. Now, I know people are going to be like, well, I don't have that bug, so this doesn't exist. Just because you don't have the problem does not mean the problem doesn't exist, and I have the problem, and I just showed you that I had that problem. Let's be honest. It's been 15 years. The hardware has drastically changed, but this game wasn't perfect on launch. It had bugs on launch. And it's okay. I'm a person that really isn't overly offended by bugs inside of video games. In fact, I think that they're completely fine and part of the gaming experience as long as they're not game-breaking. Examples of this are like people ragdolling really fast away, or random like eyeball glitches and stuff like that. Stuff doesn't bother me, but when it causes me, the player, to have issues and fail and have to repeat sections of the game, then I have a problem. So I have a problem with Viola doing this, but I have no problem with that invincible guard on the roof. Does that make sense? Because the guard on the roof isn't game breaking. The game was eventually going to go where it's going to go anyway. This is game breaking. I'm not going to make you re-watch me fight my way through that room. We eventually do, and then we're going to end up in the lobby where, you guessed it, we're going to have to fight our way out of it. I don't really care about having to fight tons of enemies. I just only say it that way so you guys understand, like, it's not one or two guys. It's an absolute buttload. That's all. So don't think of it as a negative. I'm just letting you know there's a lot of people. We're going to fight our way down through the lobby, and instead of going out the front door, we're going to go down to the garage where we're going to put Nightblade into a car. And you guessed it. Once we're done fighting this, and while we're being chased by Stag, we're going to drive right back to the Saints HQ, and Stag's going to go, well, they went home. I can't touch them anymore. It always reminds me of that kid on the playground when you would play tag or whatever, or don't touch ground or grounders, and then as soon as they were they're like, I'm not playing anymore. That's what it always reminds me of with the 3rd Street Saints. The second that it's their turn to get attacked, they're just like, I'm not playing anymore, and they rush home. Maybe that was a bad example, but it's how I think about it.
Check the bodies. Get me Monica Hughes. They have Burke.
What? Well, find him, goddammit!
I assure you, ma'am. We'll get him back.
Put the gun down. I won't run.
Yeah, I'm good.
I felt that the moment we met. That connection.
What?
Forbidden love.
Oh my god, can I just shoot this guy?
Sean Lee, play nice now. You got the stuff, Pierce?
Allow me, friend.
You did that on purpose.
All right. Let's go stag hunting.
Think you can pick a fight with Stag by yourself?
You don't want in on the fun?
Go to pick up a surprise for Stag. You know how to use a Molotov?
I don't know, man. The bottle with a rag concept is hard to wrap my mind around.
Jesus, I was just asking.
Remember how I said we always have to go back to the PR center? Well, we're going to drive back to the PR center and then we're going to throw Molotovs at the signs outside the PR center. What? Yeah, that's what we're going to go do. Then once we're done doing that, you're never going to guess what we're going to do after that. We're going to drive all the way back to the Saints HQ. You can't... Well, I guess you can make this up because they did, and that's why we're doing it. Then once we get back to the Saints HQ, it's time to defend the location. Through the power of editing, we're going to do a little bit of fast forwarding here. I'm just going to like speed this up so you guys don't have to watch it all. This is actually quite a long defending sequence. Like it lasts a long ass time. You're going to defend the north, then you're going to defend the south, and you're going to defend the north again, then you're going to defend the south again, and you're going to repeat that for what seems like forever. I have zero issues with the overall mission structure. I want to make that clear because I'm also going to harp on the mission structure a little bit. But personally, I have no issues with it. Like, I just need to make that clear, so let me be a little bit nitpicky here. This is an entire goddamn skyscraper. Why the hell are we defending it on the 3rd floor? In complete range of the tanks, of all small arms fire, and of 0 high ground advantage. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. This is an entire skyscraper. Why are we fighting like 3 floors off the ground? I can tell you as a person who worked on the tanks can't shoot vertically up, which means if we go high enough, the tanks are completely and utterly rendered useless. I know this because my actual job inside of the military was being a vehicle mechanic for the armored division. My job was to work on said tanks. They do have a limited range when it comes to going up. Not all tanks, just so we're clear. I know some nerd's gonna come in here and be like, the A10 Warthog version 7.2 Scooby-Doo version tank can shoot directly vertical. I don't care. The version of the tanks that said the game cannot. Second, small arms fire would not be able to hit us if we went halfway up the skyscraper, but we would fully have rooftop advantage. The only thing that would be able to touch us is the VTOLs and helicopters, yet they only come in at the very end of the mission. Just seems if you're going to take the fight to the Stag and then have Stag come to you, you should set up a better ambush location than the 3rd story. Some houses are as tall as we're fighting currently. Now, here's the thing that's going to end up happening. Eventually, we're going to have to go save Pierce. Pierce, for some reason, rather than coming into the building, is going to expect you to go outside and get him, so then he will follow you into the building. Now, there's 100% an easy way to do this, and I'm going to deliberately not do that. So let's talk about it. Sometimes when I replay old games that I've played before, like example Saints Row 3, I know how to do the mission easier, but I try to do it in other ways that maybe people have. So even though I know the solution to get Pierce into the building, I'm going to deliberately do it in a way that most people would have thought to do it. You were told to go get Pierce, so you run out to go get Pierce. The problem is that Volition isn't fully clear of what the objective is. It's to go get Pierce, but what you don't get to know is the fact that Pierce is absolutely freaking stupid and is going to stand there and get hit by tank shell, machine gun fire, light arms fire, as well as get hit with grenades, ran over by cars, and you're going to have to combat all of that. So you're probably thinking to yourself, CEO Shorty, there's a solution. Just eliminate all the enemies. It's actually physically impossible. They will continue to spawn for forever and completely and utterly never leave or ever be defeated, because until Pierce enters the building, the next part of the mission cannot trigger, meaning that the game still thinks that you are constantly trying to get Pierce, so to keep you entertained, they keep sending more enemies. That's a dumbed down version. There's obviously a bigger, more technical version, including trigger points and certain tasks having to be met for the coding and blah, 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 blah. You guys get it. Most people, the first time that they do this mission, they're going to run straight out to try to get Pierce and hope to God that he's willing to fight his way back into the building. Pierce will not. So then the next thing that people are going to do is they're going to run outside and they're going to try to take out the enemies, only to realize that the enemies will never stop spawning, meaning that you will never actually defeat them, meaning that that was also futile. So then the next thing that people most likely are going to do is going to be trying to figure out different ways around the enemies to maybe get Pierce to follow that are a lot safer. The truth is that there's no way to do it because Pierce will never move from the road that he's supposed to be on. He'll never move forward in a way that makes sense. No matter what your brain thinks you're going to be able to do, Pierce is always going to do the opposite. If you want him to go straight, he's going to run left or right. If you want him to get cover, he's going to stand in the road. This can create a lot of frustrations the first time you play through the game. Hell, even me doing it deliberately, trying to get it done, I was getting frustrated because it just seems like it'd be so simple, but it's not. The only true solution for you to be able to get Pierce into the building relatively easy is to take a Stag APC, drive it over to him, hope to God he gets into the vehicle before you get blown up by the tank, and then drive it back to the building. And even then, you're still going to have to battle with the fact that you might get blown up by the tank because Pierce takes too long to get into the vehicle. Pierce gets blown up by the tank because he took too long to get into the vehicle, or Pierce just simply bugs out. What I'm getting at is Pierce always has a ton of bugs that go with him. If he's involved in the mission, you're going to have a miserable time. And that's exactly what happened. Once we get Pierce into the building, though, we get access to a new weapon. That's what's really annoying about this. He didn't bring us a tank or anything. He brought us something he easily could have brought into the building if he just drove to the door rather than halfway down the goddamn street. Remember the door that we were actually defending 3 stories up and had been keeping clear the entire time we did that opening talk? And instead, Pierce chose to go left. Do you see how stupid Pierce is? It's just worth noting because Pierce was buggy in Saints Row 2, Pierce is buggy in Saints Row 3, and Pierce is buggy in Saints Row 4. Pierce is always the problem, which I will continue to say I think is part of the charm of Pierce. So as much as he annoys me, he's also one of my favorites. So let's talk about the laser weapon. I don't know where these rockets come from, but you point a laser at something and it sounds like jets fly over you and drop bombs on the targets. Now, I would have to assume that because we're using Stag technology, that they would be Stag jets flying over and dropping bombs for the laser designated targets. But let's think about it this way. If that's the case, right, and if that's what we're supposed to assume, then how come none of the multiple hundreds of soldiers that we're fighting have any time or common sense to radio in and say, hey guys, the laser designated targets are danger close? Yeah, we're the targets and you guys are dropping bombs on us. Do mistakes happen in battle? Yes, they 100% do. When I used to be in a PTSD group, you used to hear horror stories like this all the time, of somebody making a simple mistake and costing the lives of friendlies. But with the amount of rockets that we call in and the amount of hailstorm missiles that we call in, you would think at some point one of them would radio into Zero, or what HQ I guess you'd call it, and say, hey, that's danger close. Laser designated targets are friendly. Do not drop bombs on the laser designated targets. But I think we're asking too much. So let's just assume that the Stag pilots just go, yep, we just do our job mindlessly. We get paid either way and just move on with our day. This whole sequence is kind of like a bit weird if you nitpick it. That's kind of my thing. The rockets do absolutely 0 damage to the residential apartments that are all around our building. So I like to imagine in my head the people inside just like going, what the fuck is happening right now? I almost died. It's just funny to once in a while just put yourself into perspective of like just a random NPC on the street. You're just minding your business, making some sweet canned ravioli on your stove, and the building across the road is literally having a full-on war against tanks, APCs, and VTOL jets and calling in hailstorm missiles. And for some reason, you're just like, oh, I'm just going to keep cooking my stuff. I'm so glad my landlord put in my new explosion-proof windows. Okay, we're getting off topic. What I'm trying to get at is defending a location is boring, and I don't know why. On God's green, flat, fermented earth, the developers over at Volition decided that the best option would be to have us defend a location for this long. Eventually, we're going to work our way up to the roof where we're going to be given a choice. Give Nightblade back to the leader of Stag or keep Nightblade for ourselves. I will choose to give Nightblade back to the Stag because I really just don't like him. I don't like his character, I don't like his voice actor, and I don't like how he acts, so I just give him away. I could care less about him. And it changes nothing. We still get attacked.
Surrender, kid. We got the perimeter.
Yeah? We got your poster boy.
I want Stag out of my city.
Not gonna happen. Stag's mission is to eradicate the gangs of Steelport. But where to focus the firepower is my call. Release Burke and we'll hammer the Syndicate for a while. Give you boys a little breathing room.
How you want to play it?
No longer shall I hide from my one true love and her cause. Allow Shandi and I to be together, and I swear her enemies will be my enemy.
Prepare to open fire on the building.
So all that we have to do now that we are being attacked fully is jump off the building. Yep, that's it, that's all. What I didn't tell you is that you permanently have a parachute in this game. 100% of the time, no matter where you are, you always have a parachute.
Kia, do you read me?
I see congratulations are in order, Commander.
Not quite. The Saints are still at large.
I'm sending some intel over. I need leverage on the Saints. Bring in the target for questioning.
They're going to run to ground. Digging them out won't be easy.
If it were easy, I wouldn't waste your time.
Understood, sir. I'll find her.
I've been tracking the Deckers' movements in Steelport.
So how do we stop these cyber nerds?
Goth cyberpunks.
Excuse me?
The Deckers are part of the goth cyberpunk crowd, not the cyber nerds. Different group altogether. Like confusing a baseball player with a football player.
Right. So stopping them.
We'll have to wait. Get to Smiling Jack's dinner and bring Shandi. A new problem just came up.
Hey, Shandi, need you to meet me at Smiling Jack's. Kinsey says something's up.
I'll be waiting there for you.
Okay, so in the first two games, Saints Row 1, Saints Row 2, you could go after individual gangs and you'd be able to take them out in any order you wanted. You could pick them apart slowly individually at the same time, or you could just go after one gang and take them all the way out. In Saints Row 3, the story forces you to do that a little bit at a time. So for instance, the storyline we just accomplished was the Stag storyline. Now we're going to go after the Deckers. There's no way for you to take out any individual gang from the Luchadors, the Syndicate, the Deckers, or the Morningstar, or even Stag now on its own. You can't directly target them and remove them from the game. So if it feels like we're constantly like starting a storyline and then that storyline just kind of ends and then we immediately go to another storyline, that's because the game's forcing you to do it that way. It's a linear story. So even though we saw that Kai is going to be kidnapping Shandi at some point, the game just moves on to the next thing, which means we now have to go backwards and start over with the Deckers, where we got to start ramping up the action again. It's actually a big complaint that people have about Saints Row 3 because every time you just get invested in a storyline, it just cuts ties and moves on. It's like reading a book and then, you know, you finish something interesting at the end of the chapter and then for the next 17 chapters, it's about a completely different character. Or like when you watch Game of Thrones and you want to see Daenerys ride her dragons and it's like, well, here's an entire season of nobody talking about Daenerys. You get what I'm saying? So we're going to be going after the Deckers right now. But first, we have to meet with Shandi. Also, by the way, our penthouse is fully functioning, even though we just watched it get absolutely tactically nuked off the planet. It's already fixed. It's already good to go. You can go back there, do whatever you want with it, and we can use it again just like we could before. Would have been nice if we didn't have that ability. Would have made the immersion a lot better.
You need to see this.
Fortunately, this exclusive footage has come to light, and with us live, the man responsible, Eddie Kilbane Pryor. Thanks for being here, Eddie.
My pleasure, Jane. And please, call me Kilbane.
Very well. Kilbane, there are some who claim you're a criminal.
No, Jane, my dear, please. The Saints are criminals. Call me eccentric, but I'm just an entertainer slash businessman slash philanthropist slash...
We get it.
Where are they?
No idea. They're broadcasting from an undisclosed location.
Well, fucking disclose it.
I might be able to triangulate where they're shooting if you go to the broadcast towers and...
We're on it.
Okay, whenever Kinsey's involved, there's going to be a thing that we have to do, and it's hacking. What? I know! Which in this game is just walk up to it, hold E, and then your character does an animation. Through the power of fast forwarding, you guys are going to see me do about, 8 minutes of flying around and hacking different terminals to triangulate the location, while Kinsey talks to us and Shandi complains about things. We do fail one time because I thought I could jump off of a building and parachute down to my helicopter, but the dev saw that and I was not able to, and my parachute did not open. There's nothing wrong inherently with this sort of mission structure. It's just so draining, and that's kind of the point you're going to start to get with Saints Row 3. It's a lot. Earlier in the video I mentioned it's like having a toddler that's been hopped up on sugar that also has severe ADHD. There's so much happening and it's so rapid that you end up either A, getting bored in sections like this, or becoming exhausted in sections like the defending of the tower. And it might not seem like there's leaving any room for anything in between, but the truth is, a lot of other games are able to balance this out. Saints Row 3 is actually the first game in the franchise that was unable to balance this out. Then it continued into Saints Row 4, and then it continued again into Gat Out of Hell. The best way I can describe this to you from a mechanic standpoint, and as I am a mechanic, is if you went to your car right now and you just held your foot to the floor and high RPM that motor right off the bat, eventually it's going to do more damage to the engine than it would if you just let it warm up and, cool down like you would be if you were driving casually on a Sunday. Saints Row 3 started a cold engine with the pedal to the floor. If you remember, it started with a bank vault heist and it hasn't let up since. And sadly, where other Saints Row games had the ability to allow you to kind of go do side activities that were just mindless and fun, Saints Row 3 has taken those side activities which worked as palate cleansers in between these over-the-top missions and made them so terrible that you just don't want to do it. So essentially, our pedal has been to the floor the entire time, and by this stage in the game, if you're playing it every single day or you're playing at long sessions, you're kind of exhausted. And so you start doing things like I did, where you're just like trying to figure out a way to get it done faster, like jump off the building and parachute to your helicopter. It's just the case that it is. You can't help it. You're just going to become drained after a certain amount of time. Eventually, though, we will end up at where the triangulation says we need to be, which is a broadcast abandoned building all the way across town.
Motherfucker, you know that tape is bullshit.
This looks like the place.
Let's do this quietly.
Quietly?
Yeah, that sounds lame. Hey, let's just shoot these motherfuckers.
Now, this whole thing is going to be a bait and switch. It's actually not live here. We're going to learn that here in a second, but first we have to fight our way into the building. I want to talk about the arbitrary timer in the top left. This is something that Saints Row does, and I don't know why they do, because they always give you so much time that it renders the entire timer kind of pointless. Don't get me wrong, if it was super strict like some of the later Assassin's Creed missions where you have to run a perfect parkour course, it would also be just as annoying. But they do think that there was one thing that the Saints Row reboot brought in that it made it better, and that was the ability to turn off timers. Because of the fact that Saints Row always gives you ample amount of time, you never ever think about the timer, so it just seems like it's a wasted space. And sure, it doesn't bother 99% of the people, it doesn't really bother me. It just seems like, why add a timer when it doesn't matter? Especially when you add a timer and then no matter what the player does, the conclusion of figuring it out doesn't happen. We raced around the city, we were given 15 minutes, we did everything right, and we're gonna learn that it was all for nothing, meaning that the timer is also for nothing. Here's what the news reporter has to say.
It's been a while. You look good.
Where's that son of a bitch?
He mentioned heading north. You're not after me about the interview, are you?
We're not letting Kilbane get away. Back to the roof.
Let's put a bullet in that son of a bitch.
To all my headphone users, or people that are wearing their headphones while cleaning their house because this is good background noise, I'm sorry, that's not me. That's the actual game developers that left the audio in like that. It annoys me just as much as it annoys you that they went to one ear to the other no matter which way I was facing. We're gonna chase down the apparent Kilbane and we're gonna learn that it's not. We've been set up. Shocking, I know.
Gotcha.
Damn it! What did you do?
What did I do? I don't fucking know.
Learn to fucking fly!
You alright?
I had him.
I know, it's not your fault. Something weird happened. Oh, shit.
So you and me just did all of that for absolutely nothing. It was all just so Matt Miller, Kinsey's exact rival, her nemesis, could hack our helicopter and have us crash 6 feet off the ground. If you feel like you wasted your time, you're not alone in that sentiment. That's why I sped it all up. It's okay to have long missions as long as those long missions end in a conclusion that makes your player feel good. If you have a long mission that doesn't make your player feel good at the end, then it feels like a waste of time. So when you make your player fly around the entire map for 8 minutes and then fight their way through a building for 4 minutes and then talk to a news reporter for like 10 seconds and then fly back across the thing, and the entire mission takes 20 goddamn minutes to get completed, and the conclusion is that we crash in an uncontrollable cutscene, and the conclusion is just it happened, it frustrates the player. This is something the first 2 Saints Row games did not do. This is only in Saints Row 3 where they keep dangling this carrot in front of you, only to have you bite into that carrot and realize it's actually a piece of shit. This is the first game where we don't really see the bad guy as much as we should. Killbane is the bad guy, and we've barely interacted with him. He's so important to the story, at the end of the game, we're going to have a choice to kill him or do something else, because that's how important he is. Yet for some reason, the game is treating him like he's like a side character. It's just interesting. So that being said though, we're going to give Kinsey a call, because we need to get after Killbane.
I'm a little busy.
Too bad. I want to make a move against the Deckers.
What do you think I'm working on?
I don't know what you're working on because you never tell me.
Sorry.
It's okay. You feel me when I come over?
What?
Pierce and I are heading over.
You can't come. It's my inner sanctum.
Yeah, too bad.
You can hit the light.
It's homie.
I don't see a bed.
Sleep is forbidden.
What the fuck did the Deckers do to the chopper?
Matt must have hacked into its flight computer and fried it with an EMP.
You can do that?
You can do a lot worse. If Matt gets the Decker Usenet plugged into its central power grid, it's... Trust me, it's bad.
So how do we nail the Deckers?
If I could worm into their mainframe, I'd do all sorts of naughty things. But I don't have the gear for that.
What would you need?
Something like this. That's one of the most powerful learning computers in North America. And Stag's got one.
Thanks for the tip, Agent Kensington.
Ah, damn it!
Wait, that punk kid is Matt?
That punk kid is the cyber god who just trashed your helicopter. Cheers.
These people are probably halfway to the computer by now. Go!
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Just as I said, it was Matt Miller who took down our chopper because he wanted to flex on Kinsey. I don't know if we ever established it earlier in the video, but Kinsey's an ex-FBI agent who was a hacker for them and decided to use her powers of hacking for the Saints because we saved her from the Deckers on that boat. So remember I said we're going to have to keep going back to the PR center? Well, guess where we're heading? The PR center, because everybody knows you store the supercomputer in the PR center. When we get there, we're going to have to clear the lobby of an insane amount of enemies. Now, there's the shield guys. The shield guys aren't necessarily hard, but every once in a while, they're kind of like invincible. So it's definitely something worth noting. Once we clear the lobby, we're going to head to the elevator, which is going to take us down to the ground floor. The supercomputer is on the move, and we're going to have to go after it. And clearly, the best way to go after it is by grabbing a tank. I know what Volition's trying to get at. They're trying to keep you constantly doing over-the-top stuff, so then you're constantly engaged in what's going on. But at some point in time, you have to sit there and go, okay, we're chasing after a computer. One more time, a computer. And the way we're going to do that is by firing tank shells at it. Anyways, needless to say, you can blow up the computer. I'm going to do it for you guys just so you guys can see that it is possible to fail this mission even though it seems like it's extremely easy. What you want to do is use your light machine gun to pop the tires, and then you go and get the computer, and that's it. Stag just gives up. As soon as you pop the tires on a semi-truck, you know that the military is going to give up. Have you never tried this before? And it'll just fade to black, and away we go. We're done. I wish that there was more conclusion to some of these missions. It always feels like they halfway did it and then just said, you know what, if we end it there, they won't care. But people did care, and that's why Saints Row 3 is one of the more decisive games in the franchise. Because where other people didn't care that it was just chaotic fun, they didn't care when the mission ended or didn't end, others were like, this doesn't make any sense. We were being chased by Stag, we popped some tires, and now Stag just left? And that kind of theme has been the overarching feeling of the whole game. You always feel like there should have been a little bit more. And where you think there should have been a little bit less, the game's like, here's 15 more times the amount that you thought you should get. What I find funny is this happens near the end of the game, almost like the developers were getting tired of making the game, or the budget was gone, or something along the way, that near the end of the game, they just said, screw it, throw whatever at the wall, cut it wherever you need to, just make the game finished. Where at the beginning of the game, even though the missions were chaotic, they all had conclusions that felt right. You're not getting that anymore. None of these feel right.
Oh, man.
So you said, right?
Almost. I need a chair.
I'll give you $50. Pick out a nice one.
Funny. I'll explain it all once this thing's set up. I'll explain it again real slow. I want to broadcast your subconscious into the Decker usernet. Then you'll be able to interact with the avatars of users and corrupt the abstract representations of data that are the cornerstone of their online operation. To do that, I need...
A Nemo chair, of course.
A what chair?
Nemo, neurological electromagnetic onieroscope. The KGB destroyed the only one in existence.
The Deckers have one.
Impossible. How could they miss the signal?
They're keeping it here.
Clever.
Okay, nerd time is over. What is this thing? And Kinsey, for fuck's sake, keep it simple.
I need the chair to stop the Deckers.
Thank you.
So what we are building is the chair from the Matrix. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this game has gone full off the rails. So one of the biggest problems when it came to Saints Row 3 was the fact that it shifted away from the grounded gang warfare of the first two games. And while the franchise needed innovation and they needed to change it up a little bit, people felt like Saints Row 3 took it too far. Along the way, we've been talking about some things that maybe push the boundaries a little bit, but at least fit within the universe of the Third Street Saints. Now we're going full on putting our subconscious into the digital world to fight digital monsters. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Sorry. This is one of those missions where the people just started to see like this is never going to be that grounded gang warfare again. And you can also start seeing the foundation blocks being laid for Saints Row 4 where they full bore go into the simulation world and take the realism right out of it. Not that Saints Row has ever been real, but like in the universe it would be real. The reason why we're fast forwarding through this segment is it's just us following Kinsey around to 3 different locations to defend her, and then she's going to send us inside of the nuclear power plant where we're going to have to deactivate 4 different switches. That's the other problem when it comes to these later missions in Saints Row 3. They're not innovative in any way. They're not offering you anything new. And I know that seems a little bit weird to say at the same time as we're accusing them of being too innovative. The problem is there's no balance. The scale is always tipped one way or the other. And in order for a game to work, you have to have balance. So while last mission we were chasing down supercomputers in the streets, this mission we're standing around doing nothing. And the easiest solution to this problem would have been to have better AI and different gameplay mechanics to fight against them. I'm sorry, standing here while she does her arbitrary task and we just don't do nothing isn't very fun. And that was the complaint that players had back in 2011 with the game. In fact, that complaint was said so many times about the whole like, why is it defend 3 locations, turn off 3 devices, place 3 transmitters, do 3 of this. It was said so many times that in Saints Row 4, they kind of mock the people that played their game by having that be a joke that is stated many, many times. If Saints Row 3 is its own standalone game and we're just going to accept it as its own, then that's totally fine. But Volition took the complaints that people had with Saints Row 3 and then made fun of them for having those complaints in Saints Row 4. Ironically, this fit at the time. Volition was poking fun at the reviewers and the people who had at the time the ability to leave reviews and make videos, and that's totally cool. It fit the era in which it was done. But now, looking back at it 15 years later, if Volition had actually listened to the community and returned to a more grounded and gritty experience, they might not have been shut down. down. They might not have had the massive failure of Saints Row the reboot. All they had to do was reel it in just a little bit. Just give us a little bit of that grounded, gritty Saints Row gang on gang violence. That's all we wanted. If you pushed the limit a little bit, it would have been fine. But everything about Saints Row 3 is so drastically different to the first two games, you can't help but either love it or hate it. And being in the middle like myself, I'm the oddball. Because while I like certain aspects of the game, I hate aspects like what we're doing here and what we're definitely about to do. So let's get to what we're about to do, because my God, you're gonna see why I say this goes fully off the rails.
Pierce, you know if that chair thing is ready yet?
I don't know. Why ask me? Talk to Kinsey or Oleg.
Cause I can understand.
Think they said they'd be done pretty soon. We could probably head over whenever.
All right, I'll see you when I get there. It's just a car.
You ready to fuck things up in virtual reality?
Safer than being shot at.
You can survive a gunshot, but if your mind takes too much shock in this chair, you'll go brain dead.
Great plan, Kinsey.
I know. You ready?
Let's do it.
You should be seeing a visual representation of the Decker Usenet now.
A toilet? Really?
Oops, sorry about that. Let me load up another.
I can't be taking care of business if I'm made of porcelain.
I haven't finished your avatar yet. That one's just temporary.
Could I at least get some arms?
Just start moving through the data. I'll sort it out soon.
This mission in itself, this mission right now is the most divisive mission in the entire game. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. You're gonna appreciate it or you're not. There's really no in between. The only common concern between both sides, the lovers and the haters of this mission, is that it drags on for far too long. And that sentiment I can stand 100% behind. Now, I'm not going to show you guys everything. We're not going to read everything. It goes on for quite some time. The humor throughout this mission is a little bit forced. It's literally potty humor, if you get what I mean, as we are a toilet. At some point, we're going to be a sex doll, and then we're like a Metroid person. The humor is a bit forced. The other issue I have is the fact that this is a computer program, yet we're fighting the exact same things we've been fighting all along, the Deckers. Let me give you some of the pros of this mission just as we carry on through. Some of the reasons why people enjoyed this mission was that it broke up the normal open world gameplay. The neon cyber world was visually unique, and the texture, adventure, and retro game references were funny and unexpected. And the Matt Miller boss fight and soundtrack, "A City in Florida" by Deadmau5, left strong impressions. Sadly, you won't be able to hear that part because I will be copyrighted into oblivion. Some of the complaints that people had and the reasons why they hated it is that it goes on for quite a while and can feel extremely repetitive. Some players dislike the shift away from the traditional Saints Row gameplay into a virtual reality shooter. Fans who preferred the grounded gang war tone of Saints Row 2 often saw it as an example of the series becoming too over the top. The mission also suffered from some major bugs, and especially in co-op in the early versions of the game, it could become unplayable. I want to take a minute just to kind of talk about why people loved it and my opinions on that, and then I will talk about why people hated it and my opinions on that. As I said, I sit somewhere in the middle. So let's start with people's reasons for it being a positive. It broke up the open world gameplay. Personally, I actually don't really care about this one at all. The open world in Saints Row 3 is kind of very boring. It's a lot of industrial zones and a whole lot of the exact same looking buildings. Saints Row 1 and 2 had unique districts that felt unique and exciting to explore, where this city just kind of feels like all one thing. As for the neon cyber world and how it's visually unique, I can agree with that. I'm actually a big fan of like the synth aesthetic, so I'm completely fine with that. Plus, it looks like a circuit board, and every time I ever see a circuit board out of a computer or out of an electronic, I always like to imagine it's a little city and all those little diodes and stuff like that, or the buildings and all the, places where data runs, or all the roads. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about that. As for the text adventure and retro game references, the first time you play it, you're like, yes. The second time you play it, you're like, yes. And by the time you play it the third time, you're like, okay. And for somebody like me who's replayed this game every year, it does absolutely nothing for me. And to be honest with you, even back in 2011, for some people who never played those games, they didn't get the references, which means they were just like, what the hell am I doing? As for the Matt Miller's boss fight, I have a rule, and it's a very solid rule when it comes to quick time events. If you are not God of War, then don't do quick time events, because in God of War, quick time events were exciting and special. In every other game, they just feel tacked on for unnecessary reasons. In fact, this is something that will be made fun of in Saints Row 4, Get Out of Hell, as well as in the Saints Row reboot. So if this game mechanic was done so poorly inside of the Saints Row 3 that it was made fun of in Saints Row the reboot, you know it's bad and repetitive. Now let's talk about the things that people hated. It goes on for quite a while and can feel quite repetitive. I 100% agree with this one, 1,000,000%. This is 7 total minutes. I've been talking to you for 3 minutes and 45 seconds as of this very moment. And you've seen everything in real time, exactly how it unfolds. And I'm deliberately doing that because this mission is so decisive. It's not good enough to go the lengths that it's going, but it's also not bad enough to hate on it that much. But as for the repetitiveness, I think that's what makes it feel worse than it actually is. If it was broken up a lot more, or a lot more excitement, or the fact that we're in a digital world that allowed us to do a lot of extra stuff that normally we couldn't, an example of this is exactly the entire premise of Saints Row 4, I think it would be a lot better. But the sad truth is we're limited by, once again, the real world. Our gun has to reload and charge up, and we can't run as long, and the stuff that didn't need to be here is here. As for the shift away from the more traditional Saints Row gameplay, I didn't really care. I didn't. If I can be honest with you, as long as I'm having fun, I don't care. As for the grounded gang war tone of Saints Row 2, I believe that there needed to be innovation, but the innovation needed to come in extra gameplay mechanics as well as different gang stuff. I do not think the series needed to shift away into the tone of Saints Row 3. I think what it needed to do was give you more control over your gang to be different. I said it through both my reviews of Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2. Taking over a stronghold should have allowed you to build up that stronghold and expand on that stronghold and have it go from a shack all the way up into an enterprise, but they didn't allow you to do that. Taking over gangs, you should have been able to send them out to start wars with other rival gangs, and you should have been able to build your enterprise rather than just having all these districts, and it really equates to nothing. That's the direction I think the Saints Row 3 should have taken, but instead it took this direction. And taking this mission as an example of the series becoming over the top is completely fair, considering the premise of this mission is the entire premise behind Saints Row 4. As for bugs and glitches, this game was riddled. I played this game with my buddy pretty early on into the life cycle, and it was unplayable. It was a mess, falling through the map, disconnecting, game crashing, game freezing, hard freezes, hard stucks. It was obviously patched out over time, but with anything with technology advancing, some of those bugs are rearing their ugly head. A great example of this is the bug in Watch Dogs 1 that's literally a bug in the mission bug, where the very second the mission starts, bug falls through the map unless you lock your game at 1 FPS. That's an issue that has existed since day one on PC that doesn't exist on console. Console problems didn't exist on PC, which is the platform we're playing on, so I'm not having those issues, but they did exist. So summing it all up, back in 2011, http Deckers.die. The mission we're doing right now was widely praised for its creativity and became one of the game's signature missions. It was a standout because it was different. Over time, though, it has become one of the most divisive missions in the series because it was different, because we now know where the franchise would eventually go. Some players still see it as Saints Row the Third and it is at its most innovative, while others will point to it as a moment that the franchise fully embraced spectacle over grounded warfare and defined the first two games, and chose, we don't want to recopy that, and we're going to go fully leaning into this over-the-top, potty humor, repetitive gameplay. Essentially saying, as long as they're blowing stuff up, the players don't care. The truth is that players did care. And the only reason that this game sold as well as it did was based off of the back of the first two games. If this had been the starting game, people would have been amused, but they would have worn its course pretty quickly. There's a reason why certain games don't continue after the first game when they start out like Saints Row the Third did. There's a reason why the franchise fell off after this game. Eventually, we're going to find Matt Miller and we're going to have to fight him.
Why aren't you dying?
He's scared. Go to the cathedral and finish him off.
The cathedral? You mean that place with the tubes that's screaming, I'm a fucking trap?
Musty's direct feed into the world, where all his information flows through. Yeah, that's definitely a trap.
Alright, let's go get him. world, you're just a bitch with a keyboard.
So it's time for the big badass fight against Matt Miller. And while visually it looks pretty cool, it's kind of boring. The addition of QuickTime events did not improve the series, where in other games maybe it did help. It just kind of makes it feel stupid, especially because the QuickTime events are all the same. It just does the exact same thing. The fight against Matt Miller is neither hard nor fun. It just kind of feels forced and spongy. Like you're doing a bunch of damage and then you just have to do that 4 times, and then you do a quick time event and you do that 4 times, and then the fight's over. Boss fights like this are not fun. You're in a digital world. You are literally able to do anything, and you handcuff the player to having to fight inside this tiny ass arena and do a tiny ass amount of damage. And even when we become a big giant thing, you don't feel tough. You feel slow and weak and just none of it feels good. If you're going to have unlimited limitations because we're in a digital world and Matt's going to be able to do whatever he wants, as he just stated he's a god, then this should have been a way more visually stunning and interesting fight. Why didn't he split himself into multiple character models? Why did he limit himself to a melee-only build rather than having magic? How come he didn't expand himself into a massive size to try to squish us? That's just a few ideas right off the top of my head. Instead, he just limits himself to basically doing the same set of moves over and over again, and it just becomes boring. Because of that, I'm just going to skip to the cutscene where we're going to get a choice from Mr. Matt Miller.
Bye, Matt. Ah! I can clear your name. Prove that you didn't destroy that bridge.
I'm sure Kinsey can figure it out.
I literally have the world at my fingertips.
It's a little vague, Matt. Gotta do better.
You tell me the name of a company, and it becomes the property of the Saints. You get your empire back, and I get to walk away.
Kid, now we talking.
What is this? They're back doors into company records. One door leads to a weapons manufacturer, giving you discounts on weapon upgrades.
All right, and the other?
An automotive parts distribution house. They'll discount work done on your cars. Pick one and I'll get you set up as a high-priority client, I swear!
I'm going to choose the weapons manufacturer just for the discount because I use weapons all the time. I don't care what car I drive. I just steal one.
I really wish you'd reconsider, Maddie. These hands of mine were meant to rend bone, not hunt and peck on a keyboard.
Well, if typing's the issue, I can recommend some good voice recognition software. I know the best...
Shh. You stuck with me when I rose from Philippe's ashes like a phoenix. You and me, we've bonded.
That's lovely, but I feel it's time for me to move on. To be honest, I'm a little scared of, well, dying.
I do run a demanding workplace. Maddie, I appreciate how you shared your concerns. I mean, the way Viola and Kiki handled their departures made me just want to kill someone, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've got a flight to catch, so...
Maddie.
Oh, God.
Feel free to list me as a reference anytime.
Talk to me.
You trust Viola?
She seems all right.
How can you go along with her after who she worked for? After what she did?
Shaundi, you gotta let that shit go.
It's not right. It's just... Oh, shit!
Shaundi, you playing around? Shaundi.
Sorry, she won't be answering you.
Fuck me. Pierce, think we got a problem.
How so?
Shaundi's been taken.
Taken? Taken how?
Don't know. Was on the phone with her when I heard her struggle and someone else picked up her phone.
You think Kilbane got her?
Sounded military. Sounded like Stag.
So what's the plan?
Head to Image as design. I have an idea.
Is it any good?
Does bold count?
With you? No.
This is the worst idea you've ever had.
We can't go marching onto Stag's aircraft carrier.
Why not? I look just like Cyrus. All I gotta add is a fucked attitude.
What happens when you're on board?
I walk in with my prisoners, they take me to the cell block, I grab Shaundi and we leave.
I'm sorry, prisoners?
Yeah, you and Pierce. I'm bringing you in.
Oh, hell no!
Showtime.
Let's find a Stag transport to fly out of there.
This is weirding me out.
Okay, so we get to the carrier. What then?
I march your asses to the brig, we grab Shondi, we get the hell out.
What if they just shoot us?
Well, I think you guys pretty much get what the plan is. But first I want to talk about the Syndicate. So far, Viola has switched over to the Saints. She's currently with me right now. Matt has now left the Syndicate, and he's going to go do whatever Matt's going to do until he returns to the game. But he's no longer working with Killbane. So all that is left now in the Syndicate is literally just Killbane, which means we are finally done with dealing with each and every one of the gang. For the most part, the Luchadors are still existing, but they really haven't played a role in anything we've done up to this point. Why is that the case? Well, because of Killbane. So essentially what we have here is we're going to have to deal with Stag, and then we're going to have to go after Killbane. So to deal with Stag, the plan that we've come up with is to look just like the commander and then to go onto the ship to get Shondi out. I like the plan. I think it's kind of fun, it's unique, it's different. And one of my favorite games when I was younger was Destroy All Humans. And in Destroy All Humans, you could take over just different NPCs to be able to traverse around the map easier. And it reminds me of that. So for me, it's kind of a little bit of a double nostalgia because every time I play this mission, I think of another one of my favorite games, which we will be covering in the future. Now, I'm not going to waste your time too long with this. We have to drive the APC to the base to then steal a VTOL to then fly to the ship. This takes up the majority of the time in the mission. So I'm just going to get us to the ship, okay?
Next time, you get to be the fucking prisoner. Quiet.
Welcome back, sir.
What's up?
I need you to sign off on some prototypes I've been working on.
Thanks for the offer, but I want to process these two ASAP.
I can take these two down to detention for you, sir.
Thanks.
What the fuck, man?
Did you look at the commander?
This way, sir.
Yeah, all right.
Now we have to follow Kai through the ship while making some inappropriate comment that she's down for.
Uniforms leave too much to the imagination.
Excuse me, sir?
Well, I'm just saying it's a damn shame to cover up a girl like you in body armor.
Commander, I don't think this is appropriate.
What's not appropriate is what I'm thinking about doing to you.
Commander!
Call me Cyrus.
I'm sorry, that's not protocol.
Do I have to issue a direct order to see you naked?
I have to get you to sign off on some R&D first, but after that I can obey the chain of command. Sir, R&D has sent a prototype for a new vehicle. A jet-propelled cycle.
No way!
Sir?
No way they're done with that already. There must be problems.
No, sir. It is top quality.
Yeah, they have anything else for me? I mean us?
They have some improvements to our tank's weaponry. Should pack more firepower.
That's good.
And there's also portable satchel charges for the troops. Once we get to R&D, I'll need you to sign off on 2 projects.
Only 2?
We actually do get to sign off on these projects, and then we actually do get to use them. I'm obviously going to pick the tank and the hover bike, because who the hell is going to pick satchels? I also need you guys to understand, we're very late game now. This is literally the end game, meaning that 99% of the time we're not going to use any of this stuff anyway because we're already so overpowered. But I do think it's really funny that we get to make these decisions, and I love that about this mission. Sadly though, making these decisions will also trigger Kai to figure out that we are not the real commander.
Kia, I'm on my way back to the Thermopylae to interrogate the prisoner. Make sure no one else has access to her.
So that's your name.
Now it's time for a quick fast forward. We have to fight our way through this ship now. The commander came here, he announced to everybody that he's the real commander, and now we have to fight literally the entire military that is on this Stag ship. Truth be told, we should be conveniently overwhelmed here, but we are who we are, and we're able to absolutely push through this. I still really enjoy this mission. It feels right, like it feels good. And maybe because I'm such a big Destroy All Humans fan, that I don't have any issues with this because it reminds me so much of it. Even in Destroy All Humans, you take over a commander and then you attack the military base, and eventually they figure out that you're the imposter, and you do this very same thing. But I loved it in Destroy All Humans, so it's hard for me to not love it did in Saints Row 3. If I'm being 100% honest with you guys, if this was the direction that they leaned, where we started to lean a little bit into like the Mission Impossible mask stuff, and that would have been okay for Saints Row 3 to elevate the ground warfare. And I don't think a lot of people would have had any problem with that, simply because of the fact that at the time there was movies like Mission Impossible coming out and other spy thrillers that did this very same thing. People's problem with the over-the-topness comes from the Decker's mission, you know, the whole like Matrix thing and stuff like that. This feels like it fits the universe of Saints Row. Now, we're gonna fight our way down to the cages where they have our allies, Shaundi, Pierce, and Viola, and once we get them, we're able to fight with them through the rest of the ship. Now, let's be honest, they're NPCs, they're basically completely and utterly useless. Along the way, they're gonna decide that the best way to deal with the stag problem is gonna be by taking out the entire ship. So the best way to do that is doing every classic movie cliche, which is finding the reactor. You know what's really funny about this is we're literally going to repeat this exact mission in Saints Row 4. In fact, we're going to repeat most of these missions in Saints Row 4. Isn't that fun? But here's the thing. Once we get to the reactor, there's going to be a big room. This is the room with the reactor, and to be honest with you, we're not really here to talk about the reactor. I'm here to talk about the NPCs. As I push into this room, we're going to have to clear this room, and that door behind us is going to close. And Viola is going to get glitched out on the other side of that door, meaning we actually can't go too far into the room, otherwise we're abandoning one of our followers. This is frustrating because of the fact that we don't know where she is. You're assuming that, like every other time, she's relatively close to you. And in this case, I didn't see the fact that she got stuck on the other side of the door. Two things. One, the player should not have to stop and wait for every individual NPC to walk through the door every single time you walk through a door. This is twice now in the same game that we've had a person get stuck on the other side of the door. Second, why does the NPC always decide to walk into the corner rather than walking straight through the door? It's just one of those things that's frustrating once, it's frustrating twice, but when you start to see it a lot, you start to just go, what were they doing? Where was the quality testing? Now, obviously, there's going to be people that don't have this issue, but I did, and I have it in this video, so I'm showing it to you. Does this overall bother me that much? No. All you have to do is walk back to the door. The second the door opens, she will teleport into the room, meaning we'll be able to blow up the reactor. Once we blow up the reactor, we're then going to have a time limit. Now, in the case of earlier, the time limit was a lot. This one's a more reasonable time limit to almost escape. Personally, I like time limits like this. If a developer has done it right, then you should exit the match and exit the area, at the exact same time as the timer runs out. A great example of this will be in our Destroy All Humans playthrough, where the developers specifically timed the distance from the airplane hangar to the UFO ship to be exactly the amount of time if you run a perfect line. Well, perfect within reason. I like timers like that because it's a good way to get the player involved, get the heart rate racing. And even if the player does fail, it's going to be usually because they got stuck on something or they made a wrong turn, which is something they can learn from. So earlier in the video, we talked about time limits being too much. This is a good example of a time limit being the right amount of time to add to the experience. Too short, you're going to frustrate the player by having to run a perfectly straight run. Too long, and it seems like it had no consequences. This is an example of when the time limit is just the right amount. And because it is just the right amount, even though we have time to spare, it adds to the experience of the escape. It gives us a tangible feeling in the real world. We start to sweat, our heart starts to race. Are we going to make it? Thoughts are racing through our head. And when we complete it, it feels like we got a genuine conclusion to that experience.
This one's going in the book.
We might have overdone it.
Now we can focus on Killbane.
What about Stag?
We just blew up an aircraft carrier. What else could they throw at us?
You knew it would come to martial law, didn't you?
I knew the Saints. How did Mayor Reynolds react?
They'll fall in line. They all will.
Keep me updated, Commander.
Of course, ma'am.
Sir, the commandos are en route. We'll have the whole city locked down in 72 hours.
Outstanding. Thank you, Kia.
Permission to speak freely? It's about damn time we took off the kid gloves.
Two little words, Kia. Shock and awe.
How's my favorite computer nerd?
Don't finish that
sentence if you want to hear the information I have.
I was gonna say girl.
Sure you are.
All right, so what'd you find out?
That a shipment of equipment for Stag is headed towards Steelport.
Good. Let's take it. What pier is it arriving at?
It's coming in by cargo plane with an escort of VTOLs.
Well, shit. They'll have the airport locked down tight when it lands.
Scrap the information then?
Hell no. Just because we can't hit it on the ground doesn't mean we can't hit it. Tell Viola to meet me at the airport.
So Stag has put the city into martial law. It's meant to make it more difficult to traverse the city, but this late in the game, we're actually able to traverse the city almost like it's not even in martial law at all. In fact, we have absolutely no issues traversing the city because we have access to a litany of flying vehicles and the sky is not patrolled. In Get Out of Hell, there was towers that would shoot you down if you were flying around. I think Saints Row 3 could have really benefited from having some sort of anti-air mechanic during the martial law, as well as stricter roadblocks and maybe even full-on choking points where you're forced to go through for ID verification. It's just funny to me because I have been in the military and I know about how quarantine and stuff like that drills work. It's funny to me that their solution was to basically just put some troops out in the city and just hope that that was good enough. You've seen what the Saints can do. You should have actually shocked and awed a little harder. We were gonna meet Viola at the airport.
No doubt.
Okay, we have to just accept the fact, RIP, grounded gang war, Saints Row. This is the mission that finally sets it off. Everything else we could say it's okay, but come on, jumping out of a plane, landing on a plane and grabbing a handle, your body would have to instantly accelerate to the speed of the plane, which would mean his arm was completely ripped off. But I know we're nitpicking, but that's the whole fun in these videos is the fact that we're doing that. Once we're on the plane, to be honest with you, the only reason this entire mission exists is to give us a new gravity weapon, or force push, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. We're on the plane to get it, and once we get it, we can literally atomize the people that are in front of us. We can also use it to blow open locked gates. And then we, for some reason, push to the cockpit, and we blow the entire cockpit off as this sort of comedy moment, which will result in us having to do something we already did before, but you'll never guess it, okay? You won't guess. I guarantee it. You're not going to guess it.
Hey, Viola?
Oh, God. What did you do?
The cockpit is, gone.
Gone? What do you mean, gone?
Before we do something that we already did once, we are then gonna have to escape the plane, which just means backtracking ourselves to where the cargo is all stored, the tank and stuff like that. I want you to keep close eye on what is on this plane, okay? Keep a goddamn close eye on it. This is all that's on the plane. We landed at the middle of the plane, right by the ramp. Then we walked to the cockpit. This is what's on the plane. Nothing more, nothing less. Once we get there, we're gonna hop into the tank. Remember how corny it was in that one movie you watched where they hopped into the tank and then used the cannon in order to slow their descent? Well, we're about to do that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are once again falling from a plane with way too much cargo around us while having to fight way too many guys that we just eviscerated on our way out of said plane. To be honest with you, I don't really care at this point. If you accept the fact that Saints Row will never be what it was in Saints Row 1 and 2, it's a lot easier to take this all in. And pretty much that's what I've resigned myself to. But what I will say is not one person, even back in 2011 or today, will expect the outcome of what happens at the end of this mission if they have never played this game before. There is absolutely zero chance that they will be able to understand the left turn that we are about to endure. There is no way that they will figure it out. There hasn't been a single clue up to this point. It is literally that much out of left field. Yes, I'm wasting time. I understand that. But maybe because I am, you could leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we can get to the left turn in 3, 2, and maybe hit it one more time to be sure you clicked it. 1.
Fuck my life.
Perfect. I've just set up a meeting for you with the mayor.
Should I care?
He's one of the most influential men in Steelport. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't take getting told what to do too well. Thought you'd figure that out by now.
Having the mayor on our side would be an advantage for the Saints.
But I won't be his bitch.
You're right, you won't be. He knows how the game is played.
As long as he does, I'm cool with meeting him.
Good.
What are we waiting for?
We're not walking in there until you promise to play nice.
Are you serious?
Repeat after me. Don't fuck with the mayor.
Look, sweetie, I'll fuck with whoever I want to fuck with. I mean, who does this guy think he is?
Viola, is this the kid you were talking about?
Burt fucking Reynolds?
Who else could keep this town running? Besides, I love my constituents.
Sir, I'm a huge fan.
Excuse me, honey. Viola says the Saints are the new game in town. If that's the case, I want in.
Yeah, great. What do you need?
I got a zombie problem that I want.
Wait, a what problem?
Zombies.
You mean metaphorically, the celebrity-obsessed media-drugged masses, yes?
This ain't Los Angeles.
I'll tell you about it later.
You knew about this?
So what do you say, kid?
Undead cleanup ain't exactly in our wheelhouse, but we'll give it a whirl. Aren't you worried about pissing off Stag?
You're acting like I never had to outsmart a paramilitary organization before. Call me when it's done.
Oh my god, this guy's fucking awesome.
Stop being a fanboy.
Heard from my contact in Stag. There are 3 containers leaking the virus into the air. They'll have to be submerged in water to be neutralized. Think you can handle that?
I picked up something from Stag that can do the job.
I obviously cut out a bunch of that, but yes, we are fighting zombies. This is what I mean by when I say, you know, Volition kind of just started throwing whatever they could at the wall. Even in the realm of, let's just call it Saints Row 3, this was still a left turn because at no point has there been really any mentions of this. Has there been a mention of some like chemicals? Yes. But it's always been like kind of like off the cuff, just randomly in the distance or in the background or like a radio station. You'd really have to be looking for the information in order to be able to know that this was a possibility. But now that it's here, even if you did, it's still out of left field. Few things to note immediately. I immediately started the next part of this video, like right after the end of the zombies, where I was. That's how fast and jarring it is. You go from zombies to you're just on the side of the road in a car, hanging out, make a phone call. They're just like, yeah, cool, come see the mayor. I've been saying this all throughout the video. Every mission seems to end with 0 consequences. At the end of the zombie, when the zombies are spawning, we should have had to fight our way out of that quarantine zone. There should have been a reference to how they put up the quarantine zone. There should have been more panic within the city. Stag should have been there. But instead of any of that, it just immediately cuts to me standing on the side of the road. Now, obviously, I was in a car, but I just stole that car. And I know why Volition did it this way. It's so then you could go do side activities and explore the city, upgrade your guns, spend your reward points, all that kind of stuff. But in the scheme of things, when a big impactful moment happens, like, okay, now there's zombies, you should let the player sit in that for a minute, figure it out, let that process. If we had gotten to escape it, we could have talked to Viola, we could have talked to Oleg or Kinsey, or maybe Stag called us and said that they were setting up in a quarantine zone and we were going to be stuck in it. But instead of letting us, the player, sit in that moment for a second and just kind of ponder over it, mull it over, you know, try to figure it out in our noodle, they just immediately end the mission and teleport us away. And then we call up Viola, and she's already set up a meeting with a mayor whose convenient problem is a zombie population. But we didn't say anything to Viola when we called her, but the mayor knows all about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not going about it the right way. If we got to play the full mission and it didn't feel like it was artificially cut off, it would feel a lot better. Now, here we are doing this mission. It's once again rules of 3. You gotta destroy 3 containers, and in between those 3 containers, you're gonna have to do 3 subtasks. You're gonna have to save Viola, you're gonna have to fight the brute, and you're gonna have to fix your gas mask. I don't know who or what. Maybe they get a weird hard-on, or maybe they have a sexual fascination with Rules of 3, but I don't know why every single game in the history of ever goes, you know what? Doing it once isn't enough. Doing it twice isn't repetitive enough. Doing it 3 times is the perfect amount of time for everybody to be like, okay, I got it the first 2 times. In this game, we are constantly doing Rules of 3. I want to be clear, we will acknowledge this again in cutscenes in future installments of Saints Row. Saints Row 4, Saints Row Get Out of Hell, and the Saints Row reboot all make fun of the fact that it's set in groups of 3. It was such a problem that they basically made a running joke that becomes repetitive on its own over the next few games. Now, the only reason I'm talking about this mission at all and not just blowing it through is because there is a choice at the end of this mission. You can either choose to destroy the chemicals. By the way, for some reason, we go in here for 3 chemicals, and then there's a full-on chemical truck. So we can destroy the chemicals in the truck by dumping it into the river, and we get Burt Reynolds as our homie. Or we can bring it to Oleg, and then we get zombie Saints. End of the day, I don't really care about the Saints because the AI is so stupid. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I throw it into the river just to have Burt Reynolds as my homie, but I never call him, not even once, because I don't want the added problem of having him here. So that being said, we have solved the zombie problem and we're able to move on. The zombie problem. Yeah, that's what we needed in Saints Row. Zombies.
What the hell are you doing?
There have been some complications, Senator.
Complications? Don't talk to me about complications. I want results.
You want results? Then authorize the use of the data list.
Even if Congress got on board, Homeland Security would never allow it. This is out of control. I am coming to Steelport.
Zombies and Monica Hughes?
I think you guys are starting to see how disjointed Saints Row 3 is. It really does feel like every mission was supposed to have a little bit more, just to tie it together. At no point have we really referenced the fact that Stag was even here. And in all honesty, why would the mayor send in us if he already had Stag here fighting the battle? We didn't even see them if they were there. In fact, it actually would have made the mission a lot better if we did see Stag there and we were fighting against Stag while fighting against the zombies. With our job trying to dispose of the chemicals while Stag tried to keep the chemicals. I think that would have added to that mission, but instead we get that weird disjointed cutscene where all of a sudden Stag's there and they're talking to Monica Hughes. And it only solely exists so he could talk about Daedalus, which is something he's going to implement here shortly. Moving aside from the weird disjointedness of that entire quest, we're going to immediately switch gears into reverse and we're going to go back after Killbane. Remember the main bad guy we've been going after this entire time? I know, if you forgot about him, I feel for you because pretty much everybody did, because it's been all over the place. It's like I said, a toddler that has ADHD hopped up on sugar. You have no idea where you're going to go. So we're going to head to the Broken Shillelagh and we're going to meet up with the gang.
All right, I'm done fucking around. I want Killbane.
You want to hurt Killbane? You gotta hurt his reputation.
So what, we humiliate him?
Can't we just kill the bastard?
Take Killbane's mask and all that's left is Eddie Pryor. It's worse than killing him.
I don't know, this more Angel's thing.
Killbane would never agree to fight Angel.
He's more scared of Angel than me?
Yeah, no offense, but you're kind of ridiculous.
Relax. You're gonna look hot in the Speedo.
So if we switch back into somewhat realism for the Saints Row universe, we're going back after Killbane, you know, the big bad guy we've been focused on for the entire game but barely have ever interacted with. And it's a hard shift from zombies the previous mission to going after Killbane. Here's the thing, Killbane won't fight us because we're literally a nobody. But we do have somebody who works for the Saints, and he's a dude we've only seen once in the entire game, Angel. Remember when we saved him and recruited him way back at the beginning of the game, and then we ran into him one more time when we had to complete our escort missions with the Tigers? Well, he's the key to the whole thing, so we're gonna have to make sure that there's nobody in his way when he goes after Killbane. To do so, we actually have to do something that I thought was pretty cool. We get another gadget. It's a remote control. We get to take control of each of the individual cars of each of the individual luchadors who Killbane would be able to fight inside of Murder Brawl. So we get to take over a car and kill a bunch of civilians on the side of the road and then crash it into a gas station, ruining that person's reputation. We then get to steal a boat and do the exact same thing, crash a beach party, ruin that person's reputation. Then we also do it with a helicopter. It's a really cool mission that fits into that universe of Saints Row. This entire video, I've been trying to give you guys the overarching story of if it fits within the universe, then it's okay. But the second that you break the rules of that universe, for instance, zombies, falling through a tank, being teleported into the Matrix, that's where it doesn't feel real anymore. When Saints Row 3 shines the best is when Saints Row 3 is fitting within the universe of Saints Row 3. In my personal opinion, and yours can differ, and that's totally cool. That's the whole point in these kind of deep dives and the way that I do them is that we can both talk. In my personal opinion, if you took out the zombies, you took out the falling from the plane, you took out the Matrix section, and you focused more on just fighting the Syndicate, it would have been a lot better because the Syndicate was something new already. We fought multiple gangs before, and we've had the illusion of an overarching story body. In Saints Row 1, it was the government, but we only saw them for 3 missions after we beat the 3 gangs down. In the second game, it was Altor, and Altor, once again, we saw a little bit more of them, but we didn't really get to interact with them until the game was already beaten. In Saints Row 3, it's something that's got a name. It's called the Syndicate, and we interacted with them a lot at the beginning of the game, and since then, it's been very loosely interacted with. Rather than having to fight our way through the gang and take over the strongholds, we pretty much do 3 missions per gang, and those missions immediately lead us to taking out that gang's chief in charge. What I'm getting at, and what I've been trying to explain through this entire game, is that Saints Row 3 stands its best and looks the best when it's being that gritty experience. It feels the worst when you're doing things that just don't fit the realm. Force-feeding Burt Reynolds into a mission and then just force-feeding in zombies didn't feel real to the world. Neither did it make sense, and hence why the cutscenes and the gameplay and everything about it felt so disjointed. When you sit down to watch a superhero movie, you allow yourself to believe that superheroes are real. When you sit down to watch an action star like John Wick, you have to put yourself into the universe and allow yourself to believe that there's a human being on this earth that could do what he can do. But if all of a sudden John Wick decided that he had rocket boots on and he could fly, you would be immediately taken out of that experience because that doesn't fit into the universe you've created around John Wick. The exact same thing is happening with Saints Row. It's constantly removing you from the universe that it created, trying to be wacky and quirky, and it just doesn't work. In my opinion, if you love it, that's totally cool, and I'd love to hear why it works for you. That being said, we're just going to end this mission because we've eliminated all of Killbane's targets. He has no choice now but to fight Angel.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Stillwater Butcher has graced us with their presence.
You want to fight the best? You fight me.
The best? The best is beating Sway the Spider God in a Tijuana scaffold match. The best is defending the world title 13 times in one night. The best is winning a last man standing match with 2 broken legs! Trust me, little Icarus. You're flying too close to the sun.
Oh my God. Quit being a bitch and put your mask up.
If you want to be broken by the walking apocalypse, I will gladly oblige you.
I don't want you to fight Killbane.
The fuck you say?
This is between me and him.
I think it kind of involved me when he framed the Saints for attacking Stillwater.
I'm a saint now. Let me handle this for you.
You have a lot of ring rust, man.
I've been praying for redemption. I won't let this chance slip me by.
Okay, man. You got it.
Thank you.
Anything I can do to help you get ready?
There's only one thing I need. Meet me at the 3-Count Casino.
See you there. Okay, so why are we here?
Losing his mask is the ultimate shame a luchador can feel. I can't steal it back. I need to earn it.
All right, how do we do that?
We hurt a lot of people.
I am not going to waste your time here. We have to fight in this spot, doing random side tasks like shooting statues or shooting brutes for over 6 minutes. I refuse to waste your time this late into the video with that kind of mission, and it's actually insulting that they wasted our time with this mission. I can think of like 1,000 ways that they could have made this more entertaining than just standing in a casino shooting at the same bad guys we've been fighting the whole time, but I'm not going to waste my breath because it was very clear at this point in time in the game, even back in 2011, that some of these missions were just here to time pad. And while it sucks, it wasn't an uncommon practice for the era of 2010 to 2020 to have missions that just went on way too long. It was happening all over the place. Social media, on YouTube, every video content creator was stretching out to the 10-minute and 1-second mark, even if their video was over at 4 minutes, just because that's where ad revenue was. Every movie was splitting the final movie into 3 or 4 different parts in order to be able to cash in a little bit more. And video games were doing missions like this that were just simply here to fill up time to make you feel like you got more bang for buck. But if you think about it critically, we're doing nothing different than we've done the whole game. We're defending somebody that is incapable of defending themselves while doing it for a drastically long time. So we're moving on to the next mission.
Tonight's been a great night, and it's not slowing up, Bobby.
An incredible night, Zach. And now, it's time for the main event.
I can't wait. Let's do it. There he is, Bobby. Eddie Killbane Pryor, the walking apocalypse himself. You can't help but wonder how the Stillwater Butcher can't compete.
I'll tell you, Zach, this psycho is a complete whack job. You know, when he came out of the womb, this guy literally choked out the doctor with his own umbilical cord. He's that fucking sick.
I'll be ringside keeping luchadors off your ass while you finish Killbane. Good luck, man.
Well, there it is, Bobby. The Saints receiving no love here.
Not at all. It is raining hate down where they are, and of course it is. After what their capo did to Stillwater, they're lucky their fans aren't knifing them on their way to the ring. Wait, oh my God, look at that. It's Angel de la Muerte.
Angel de la Muerte, the second half of a Pale Riders, sometimes regarded as the herald of a walking apocalypse. The youngest wrestler to ever win the Super K-Cup is here in the Steel Court Arena.
History is writing itself tonight, Zach. After his questionable loss to Killbane years ago, Angel dropped off the face of the earth. If you're a fan of Murder Brawl, this is shaping up to be the best night of your life.
I know that some people really hate this final boss fight. I know this because you guys left the comments on my previous 2 videos talking about this specific moment. This is the kind of wackiness that I'm okay with. Do I agree that the boss fight's weak? 100%, but this is the kind of wackiness that fits into the Saints Row universe. So when it comes to the overall theme of the match, I'm okay with it. When it comes to it being the final boss fight, I'm not, if that makes sense. But I know some of you guys really hate it and some of you guys really love it, and I'm right in the middle. That's my entire opinion on this entire game. That being said, we're going to fight off the luchadors outside, and it's a lot of fun. Weapons are thrown at us, we get to take them out, you don't have to think about anything. I just wish we maybe got to enjoy the fight that's going on inside the ring a little bit more. I say this because we could see things that are happening that would make what's about to happen make a little bit more sense. But overall, I still think this is just chaotic fun in a good way compared to some of the previous missions.
Oh my God, the Angel is out of the ring!
I can't believe this, Bobby. This is punishing to watch. The luchadors are manhandling Angel.
This is sick. He's getting kicked around like a sack full of dead puppies.
Oh, jeez. Wait, the Butcher of Stillwater is making his way towards Angel.
How much can one person be expected to... Oh my God, a chainsaw! What the f***?
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna lie, that cutscene cracks me up every single time because the announcers are so funny. He's getting kicked around like a sack full of dead puppies, and then when he gets the chainsaw, it makes me laugh every single time. This is when Saints Row is standing on its best feet. Right here, this is exactly what we all signed up for when we played the first and second game. We want those laughing moments, but we also want serious moments too. That's what made it so impactful when Carlos died with the whole being dragged by the truck thing. It's what made the first game so good when it turned out that you were being betrayed by Julius. Saints Row stands on its best feet when it allows the player to laugh and be serious at the same time. Needless to say, we're going to chainsaw the hell out of these people and then we're going to go fight Killbane ourselves.
You finish this, Angel?
I think I broke my leg. Get in there and kick that bastard's ass. I can hold off these jobbers.
Well, it looks like people are going to see.
So now it's our turn to fight Killbane. I'm not going to waste your time too much with this. It's a spam counterfest. That's all you have to do. It's actually very proper to the time and when it was made. In fact, pretty much every game that came out in this era did the exact same thing. You would go into the battle and then you'd just counter the boss's moves. And then when you countered the boss's moves, you'd get a quick time event which would allow you to hurt the boss. Cesare in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the final boss in Shadow of Mordor. It was common. I don't know why, but every developer decided at the exact same time that the way that players want to play the final boss fight is just to counter a move, hit a button, and then watch an animation play. And while this worked for some games like God of War, where visually it meant that it was impactful, in most games it kind of played out like what you're watching right now, where you were just kind of like, oh, this isn't very fun. And to be honest with you, it wasn't fun in 2011 and it's not fun now, but you will still have people that come out of the woodworks that say, hey, this is peak Saints Row. This is exactly what I wanted to play. And we know those people were born in 2001 and were literal children when they played this because they were just fascinated by the fact they got to watch their crazy wacky cartoon character fight another cartoon character. And it's okay. It's totally okay that they liked it. But now looking back on it, we can all agree. Even the kid born in 2001 can look at this and go, this is not how I thought this would go, for how terrifying he was supposed to be. The worst part is it's going to be so much worse from here. You'll see. You'll know what I mean. We're going to talk to Killbane about his mask, though. So we're given the choice to either take Killbane's mask or we can get the Apocryphist weapon. I'm going to go for the Apocryphist, and there's a reason I've been doing all these choices and telling you which choice I chose. There is multiple endings to this game, and we're going to only give you one ending in this video, simply so if you want to play through it again, you can have a different experience than I did. Don't get me wrong, if you really want to see the alternate ending, you can look that stuff up. But with this choice, I have sealed my fate, essentially. So we're gonna let Killbane keep his mask.
You want mercy? Tap out.
Holy sh**! Killbane has tapped out!
The walking apocalypse has let his arms be broken without submitting, but the Stillwater Butcher has done the impossible. You gotta love it. Against all odds, the Saints are still standing.
What a night, Zach. What a night.
Killbane, it's just a match.
It's my fucking reputation! This is my city. I am its Caesar! And I get to fiddle while it burns.
Pierce, you heard anything about what happened to Killbane?
Nope.
We need to know where he is.
Yep.
You're playing chess again, aren't you?
Yeah.
Damn it, Pierce.
Oh, hey, come to the crib. We got something important to talk about.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's very clear that Killbane is down, but he is not out. And we are down to the final mission, yes. The outcome of this mission will be different based on the choices that you make and who you choose to go after at the end of this mission. This game does have multiple endings, which I just told you, and we're going to go for our ending that I want. Not that I have a preferred ending, it's just the one I want to do this time. I'm leaving this open, so if you want to replay the game, you can have a different experience and not know everything that's going to happen if you haven't played the game in a long time. That being said, let's head over to the crib and start our final mission.
So what's up?
Heard back from Legal Lee. Studio wants you to do a screen test for Gangsters in Space.
No, fuck that. We're done being corporate whores. So who's... What's that?
God damn it!
What the hell is going on? We gotta get down there.
All right, boys and girls, I'm going to speed through this. This is 16 minutes. What's essentially happened is Killbane is going after the Stag, and Stag is fighting Killbane, and in result of this, we've ended up with one giant fight happening in the city. The city is literally at war. While this is all happening, though, one of our gang members, Shandi, is going to be kidnapped. What? I know. This has never happened. Didn't happen in Saints Row 2. definitely didn't already happen in this game, and it won't happen in Saints Row 4 or any future titles. Shaundi has never been kidnapped, not once. It's okay, I have to just call a spade here. It pisses me off that Shaundi in Saints Row 2 is this happy-go-lucky girl, and it made sense that she was taken over by this, you know, druggy veteran child. It made sense. But in this one, she's not the same Shaundi. She's this badass who's able to beat the fuck out of anybody she wants, and she still gets kidnapped. In fact, there's actually a whole Reddit post dedicated to talking about the fact that it makes no sense that the new badass Shaundi constantly gets kidnapped without any sort of resistance, almost like it's kind of her kink. Essentially, what's going to happen is we're going to drive around the city, and we're going to fight in 3 different locations, and we're going to clear those locations of an arbitrary amount of guides in order to be able to eventually come to the final conclusion. Believe it or not, this is actually a lot harder than it seems. Not because of the levels of the AI or any of that. No. It's because of our NPC allies. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Olog is not the problem, and if you haven't figured it out yet, Pierce is 110% the problem. This dude sucks. He's constantly going down. He constantly gets stuck on things, and he's constantly on fire. I don't know why, but I knew in Saints Row 2 that Pierce was going to be a problem. I shared that in my video. And here we are in the final mission of Saints Row 3, and we are having the same issue. Now, I also want you guys to remember, they mentioned something about space and a movie. Depending on what you choose and what you've chosen, it will depict on whether or not you do a stag movie or you do a space movie. We are obviously getting the space movie. Without spoilers, I'm going to tell you it's super corny, but that's the alternate ending. Now, after driving all around the city and fighting the syndicate and fighting the stag, we're eventually going to be faced with a choice. Do we fly and go get Shaundi, or do we go after Killbane? Do we kill Killbane or save Shaundi? I made my choice solely based off of my playthrough. I went through this whole playthrough and I always tried to choose the nicer of the 2 options, or whatever fit my gang better. I chose the weapons over the cars because my gang doesn't really care about cars. We cared about weapons. That's what we used the most of. I didn't take Killbane's mask because it would have destroyed him as a luchador, and I didn't feel like he deserved that considering he did pretty much allow us to fight him anyway, so I left his mask on. Every choice I made based off of how I felt my gang personally would go. If we were playing Fable, I went with the good choices to get the Halo, in my opinion. Now, obviously, there was no good choices, so it shouldn't be a shock that I went to save Shaundi. Shaundi's been with us for a while now, and I feel bad if I had let her die. The annoying part about this is, sadly, it has 0 impacts on anything, kind of like this entire game. Every single thing we have done has not really changed anything that would have happened. Not even our current fight against the Syndicate and the Stag. It changes absolutely nothing. The events of what was going to unfold no matter what. So you and me really had no choice in the outcome. The only thing we get to choose is these small little segments that have no actual impact in the grand scheme of things. Let me give you a little bit of spoilers, but if you're already here, then I know you're a dedicated fan to the franchise. Saving Shaundi is actually canon to the overall story. It's to discredit Stag, which is very crucial to the beginning of Saints Row 4. And that discredit is the exact point in which Saints Row 4 starts. It's the literal direct outcome of Saints Row 4. If we went after Killbane, then they wouldn't be discredited. Not in the same way, that is. Did I plan it this way? No, I just wanted to save Shaundi because I figured my character's loyal to the people that are loyal to him, and that would have been the choice he would have made. So that's what we did. Well, are gonna do.
He's at the airport. There isn't much time.
Angel?
No, I can't let him win. We can't let him win.
Angel, sit tight till I get there, man. I'm coming. Hang on.
Hello, Saint.
You're wasting a lot of good men trying to arrest me, bitch.
I don't want to arrest you. It won't solve anything. People need to wake up and see the threat that scum like you are to innocent people. Once you blow up the Magarac Island, the whole world will see your true colors.
Don't be stupid. Saints aren't blowing up anything.
We'll see how many people believe that when Shaundi and Viola are found in the wreckage.
Now, as I said, we're going to go save Shaundi. I think it's mostly important because I think our character would be loyal to our gang members. I know it's easy to make the argument, though, that he would also just leave them behind because he is kind of a selfish prick. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to head to the docks, or we're going to meet up with Kinsey, and Kinsey and us are going to drive across the lake to the island with the giant statue that Shaundi's on. Once we get there, we're going to have to fight our way to the actual base of the statue, where then we're going to take out our newfound blowing up moving evisceration gun, and we're going to shoot bombs off the side of the statue. What? I know. It's almost like the entire Act 3 is just the same mission repeating over and over and over again with different lipstick on it. Inherently, is there anything wrong with it? No. But when you play the game back to back to back to back like I did, I just played the game in, an 8-hour session, you really start to notice how repetitive this game can be. And you could look at it as one of two ways. You could look at it as either A, Volition didn't know what direction to take the game, which you could easily make that argument. Come on, we had zombies, we fell out of a plane twice, not once, twice we fell out of a plane. 3 times we destroyed a cargo plane. I don't know how many missions we did where we drove around and defended somebody at exactly 3 locations. We went into the goddamn Matrix. It would be very easy to make the argument that Volition had no idea what to do with this game and where to take it, so they just kind of threw things at the wall to see what we, the players, would tolerate and what we, the players, would hype up or dislike. And based off that feedback, they made Saints Row 4. You could definitely easily make that argument. But the other side of that argument is that Volition had lost all creativity. And rather than trying to be creative with their output, they just decided to do the same thing over and over again with random moments of creativity. If you actually look at it, every single mission that we complained about was the only missions that actually served any creative purpose. Every mission that felt like a standard mission was the exact same structure. Go here, defend, go here, hack. Do that 3 times. So, depending on which side of the fence you would sit on, you would either think that Volition was extremely creative with Saints Row 3, or you'd think that they're extremely uncreative with Saints Row 3. But here's the thing. In Saints Row 2, when VC, Veteran Child, takes Shandi, he holds her hostage and then holds her by a chokehold, and you have to throw things at her, flashbangs, in order to be able to break that hold. Then you can shoot Veteran Child. Well, guess what's gonna happen for the final fight with Kai? She's gonna hold Shandi in a chokehold, and you're gonna throw jars of gas at her, and she's gonna let go of Shandi, and then you can shoot her. See? Watch.
As you came.
I don't abandon my crew.
Really? Lynn, Carlos, Aisha, Johnny. All you do is let your friends die.
Bitch, you gonna wish you never said that.
Those grenades should buy you time!
Come on, you gonna let her beat you? I don't want to know how that's made. All those
That isn't
guns.
working! Toss
And
those
you
at
use
her!
this stuff.
That's what you're doing! Ah, what the hell
I
was
hate
that?
to be let down. What the hell are you aiming at?
Make them all think.
Let's go home.
Hold it right there.
Unless the next thing out of your hole is thank you, we got a serious fucking problem.
They have a point, Commander. Like it or not, the Saints are heroes.
Are you shitting me, lady?
You declared martial law and knocked down half the city. The Saints just saved a treasured monument. Who the fuck do you think the public will side with? Yes, I can answer any questions. Jimmy over there.
They can give you the key to the goddamn city, but as soon as you screw up, we'll be back. And next time, Stag is gonna put you down.
Oh, love you too, Cyrus.
So what's the play, boss? We go back to banging in Stillwater?
Not yet.
Hi, people. When we started tracking down this son of a bitch, we said we'd follow him to the ends of the earth. And we did. Kilbane is readying his army for an all-out attack. We will stop him here. Our planet needs us. Let's not let her down. Hoorah! Hoorah!
Yup, that's where we are. We're on Mars. Here's the thing. This mission is meant to be deliberately corny. No, Johnny Gat is not alive. It's just an actor playing Johnny Gat. You're going to have to travel and deactivate 3 generators, and then once you deactivate the 3 generators, one of your allies will die. It kind of looks like this.
And I was only 2 days till retirement. Ain't that a bitch?
You gotta live. Live for all of us.
Go on without me. That's it, Cornell. All 3 terminals are gone.
That should leave the gate vulnerable to explosive charges.
Yep, that's that's the mission. You know what I find funny is in this mission, they're deliberately making it over the top. Like, that gate is now ready for explosive charges. Like, they're telling you exactly what you need to do. Little did they know in 2011, in 2026, that would literally be the entire gameplay loop for what you would do in a game. It would literally just be the NPCs telling you exactly what you could do, because God forbid if we thought for ourselves. Needless to say, eventually we're going to end up finding Killbane.
You've come this far, only to fail now. Earth is doomed. General Killbane, we meet again. Do you really think your ragtag band of misfits could stop me? My friends ain't gonna die for nothing. You're finished. You can't kill me. You don't know the truth. The fact is, I am your father. What? No!
Yeah, it's meant to be like this, so I can't harp on it. We're gonna end up fighting Killbane, and what you have to do is you have to run around and shoot lava crystals until he falls down and allows you to shoot him in the face. So this is what it looks like.
I came to Mars to make a living, keep my head down, stay out of trouble. But I found something. But I found something that... Shh, damn it. Line.
Cut!
Sorry,
Hey, you get it next time.
Everybody back to 1. Settle, we're rolling.
Speed. All right, people.
I freaking wish you guys could hear the outro song. It's so good. It's an amazing outro song. That brings us to the end of Saints Row the Third. I know we were a little bit more hostile in this one than, say, in the first 2 games, but it was for a genuine reason. I love Saints Row, and this video game is the reason why I'll never play another one again in the future, like in modern times. This game laid the foundation for what would be Saints Row 4, which would be very negatively received. Then, because they weren't making enough money, they then split off off a DLC for Saints Row 4 and made Gat Out of Hell, a game that never should have been a standalone title that they for some reason made a standalone title. Then we had to wait literal years to get what would be the worst Saints Row game that has ever been made with the Saints Row reboot. And it all started here. I won't say that this is as good as I remembered it being. It is also not as bad as I also thought it was. I'm right in the middle. It's completely okay. I remember the good moments and I forget the bad moments, but it doesn't hold a light to the first two games. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day.